Chapter 136. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, another day had passed. On this day, Sun Hao and Huang Ruming finished breakfast and were about to play the guqin. Buzz, ripples appeared in the sky as a huge flying ship appeared in the sky. Ruming, this is? Sun Hao squinted at the flying boat and asked. Young master, it's Zhang Tianping and the others. Huang Ruming said. It's him? Sun Hao's eyes were shining. He remembered that he had given them a few scrolls, and each person only received 50 blessing points. They did not know how many blessing points they could get from the gifts they gave them this time. Thinking like this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. After a while, Zhang Tianping brought Mo Hao Shi and the two elders down and arrived outside the courtyard. Creak. The door opened. Come in. Huang Ruming said. Thank you, madam. Zhang Tianping cupped his fists and bowed. When Huang Ruming heard this, her face turned slightly red, and the corners of her mouth raised into a happy smile. She did not explain, but led the four of them into the courtyard. He is indeed a mortal. Mo Hao Shi looked at Huang Ruming's back, and a disdainful smile flashed across his face. Worshipping mortals as peerless immortals? In order to see this mortal, he actually had to jump through space. Was Zhang Tianping sick in the head? Thinking of this, Mo Hao Shi snickered. Even though that was what he was thinking, he didn't dare to show it on his face. He followed behind them and walked inside. Suddenly, Mo Hao Shi's brows twitched, he raised his head to look, and his pupils constricted. A myriad divine lotus swayed in the wind. The lotus was so big that it occupied the entire pond. An indistinct celestial power floated over from the lotus. Yao immortal? Mo Hao Shi's expression changed slightly, and he quickly retracted his gaze. This place actually had a demon immortal. It was extraordinary indeed. Could there really be a peerless immortal? Mo Hao Shi's heart was beating like a drum as he carefully followed behind them. Gua gua. At this moment a duck quacked. Mo Hao Shi said subconsciously, Duck? This sound rose. Phew, an oppressive aura swept out in all directions, instantly wrapping around Mo Hao Shi. At this moment, Mo Hao Shi felt as if he was in the 9 hells of hell, and his entire body was icy cold. It was extremely difficult to even move a finger. You are the second one who dares to call me a duck. Even Master only calls me chicken. You are too presumptuous. Like rolling thunder, it exploded in Mo Hao Shi's mind. His scalp went numb, and a chill ran down his back. Narrowing his eyes, Zhang Xian's body trembled. This is the 9 heavens god Luan. I can actually see this kind of divine beast? This is a dream, right? Was that the thing that just came out? Thinking of this, Mo Hao Shi quickly showed weakness. I'm sorry, senior. Humph, I'm sorry and you'll let it go? If you don't. Before he finished his words. Littling, if you get angry again, I will definitely stew you. This sound rose. The pressure on Mo Hao Shi's body instantly dissipated. He looked up and his pupils shrank. He saw that the 9 heavens god Luan was circling around a mortal, constantly rubbing against his trousers. His expression was like that of a bootlicker. A dignified divine beast had actually become a bootlicker? Heavens, am I dreaming? That's right, the master it mentioned just now, could it be this mortal? At this thought. Hiss! Mo Hao Shi took a few breaths of cold air. This mortal, I'm afraid, is far from as simple as the surface. It seems that Zhang Tianping is right. But, so what? Let me honestly hand over the mysterious heavenly pattern and be a bootlicker? The mysterious heavenly pattern is my life. Let me hand over my life? Don't even think about it. Thinking of this, Mo Hao Shi showed a touch of determination. Even if he died, he must not show weakness, let alone hand over the mysterious heavenly pattern. He followed Zhang Tianping carefully. He saw that in front of him, Zhang Tianping and the other two were also shocked. For a while, he couldn't calm down. For a long time, Zhang Tianping calmed down, walked in front of Sun Hao, and saluted respectfully. "Greetings, young master. Everyone is polite, sit down and rest for a while," Sun Hao said. "Young master," Zhan Tianping looked at Mo Hao Shi with a face of shame. This guy, it seems that he has no intention of taking out the mysterious heavenly pattern at all. What to do? If he can't complete the task given by the young master, what should he do? "Young Master Zhan, please say something, no need to be polite," Sun Hao said. "Young master, I want to buy the boat core from you," Zhan Tianping said. "Boat core?" Sun Hao was taken aback. "I can indeed make the boat core, does this guy really want it? I don't know if I can get blessing points by selling it to him. The last time I seemed to sell his painting scroll, I also got 50 blessing points. I was just thinking about what to send them. Now it seems that there is no need to think about it. Young master, just the boat core you engraved last time, I am willing to pay 1,000 immortal crystals for one, what do you think?" Zhan Tianping asked. 1,000 immortal gold? Such a high price? No problem at all. Even if you give yourself 1 immortal crystal, you will agree without hesitation. No problem. Sun Hao nodded. "However, I don't have a finished product now, you sit for a while, I'll be right back." "Young master, wait." Zhan Tianping stopped Sun Hao. "What's wrong?" "Young master, this is Mo Hao Shi. He heard that your formation is outstanding and wants to observe you engrave the formation pattern. Do you think it's okay?" Speaking of this, Zhan Tianping lowered his head, looking extremely nervous. He shouldn't have made this request. I blame myself for wanting to complete the young master's task too much. Of course. Without any hesitation, Sun Hao nodded and agreed. "You guys sit in the pavilion, I'll go get the tools," Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." After Sun Hao left, they walked into the pavilion and stood there. Mo Hao Shi sneered in his heart. "Engraving the boat core? I'd like to see how a mortal engraved the boat core." No matter how hard Mo Hao Shi tried to conceal it, it was hard to hide his contempt. Soon, Sun Hao walked out with a carving knife and a few pieces of wood. Mo Hao Shi squinted at the carving knife. No matter how he looked at it, it was a carving knife used by mortals. Generally used for carpentry work, not to mention engraving the formation pattern, even on ordinary iron, it was difficult to leave a mark. Using wood as the boat core? Was this guy here to be funny? After a brief glance, Mo Hao Shi withdrew his gaze and stopped looking. "You guys, wait a moment, it will be done soon." After speaking, Sun Hao picked up the carving knife and moved quickly. The carving knife in his hand was like a flying dragon and phoenix, and soon, he carved a wooden ball. Then, Sun Hao continued to move. Ancient formation patterns were engraved on the wooden ball by him. Mo Hao Shi was instantly attracted by Sun Hao's movements. He opened his big mouth, trembling up and down, and didn't spit out a word for a long time. That kind of shock, that kind of disbelief, that kind of admiration, it was written all over his face. His eyeballs, following Sun Hao's hand, were turning. Until Sun Hao finished engraving, he still hadn't recovered from the shock. He stood in place stupidly, opening his big mouth. His whole body was trembling slightly. Chapter 137. That carving knife was not an ordinary thing at all. It was that he couldn't see the grade at all. That wood was not ordinary wood, let alone spirit wood. There was only one possibility, and that was immortal wood. To actually use immortal wood to carve the boat core, this was too rich, right? Mo Hao Shi's heart was like being hit by a 10,000-meter wave. The whole heart was broken into pieces and difficult to heal. Everything today was completely beyond imagination. What shocked him the most was that it was Sun Hao's supreme engraving technique. It seemed to be natural, automatic Dao rhyme, and there was simply no fault to be found. In the entire history of refining, who could do this? Just ask, who else? This must be a dream. This was definitely fake. He must be cheating. Mo Hausher pinched himself a few times and grimaced in pain. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows. His eyes were fixed on the wooden ball in Sun Hao's hand. Why was it so familiar? No, this was the array engraved by himself by imitating the mysterious heavenly pattern. How did it reach such a level in his hands? Perfect and flawless, there was simply no fault to be found. It was even more perfect than the array on the mysterious heavenly pattern. In this world, there was such a supreme array, Grandmaster? Is this God's blessing for the old man? In Mo Hausher's eyes, hot tears flowed involuntarily. Sun Hao took the engraved boat core and looked up and down. What's going on? Why not? Sun Hao looked puzzled. Young master, you need this. Huang Rumeng took out the immortal crystal and handed it to Sun Hao. Immortal crystal? Sun Hao picked up an immortal crystal and put it on the boat core. Immediately, the immortal crystal turned into wisps of blue light and poured into the boat core. On the boat core, hundreds of lines lit up quickly. Not enough. Sun Hao directly put the boat core on the pile of immortal crystals. Buzz, pieces of immortal crystals melted at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into wisps of light and merging into the boat core. It took 100 immortal crystals to activate all the lines on the boat core. Light blue light gushed out like a pearl, extremely dazzling. What? Devouring immortal power, this is the immortal level boat core. This is 100 times stronger than the boat core I engraved myself, no, 1,000 times, more than 10,000 times. It's not a level at all. I, Mo Hausher, actually have the fortune to meet such a person. What was there to hesitate about? Plop! A sound rang out. Sun Hao was taken aback. He saw Mo Hausher kneeling in front of him, tightly hugging his feet. Esteemed master, please accept this disciple's bow. After that, he knelt 3 times and kowtowed 9 times. Such a scene not only scared Sun Hao in place. Zhang Tianping and the others were even more shocked. Mo Hausher, this stubborn old man, was actually this shameless? Was this a dream? In the next second they were even more shocked. After Mo Hausher saluted, he took out an ancient booklet with the words, "Mysterious Heavenly Pattern," written on it. These few words strongly stimulated the eyes of several people. Master, this is a small gift from your disciple. Please accept it. Mo Hao presented the mysterious heavenly pattern with both hands, his demeanor incomparably respectful. It took a long time for Sun Hao to return to his senses. What was going on? Why did he kneel just like that? Calling him master? Did he agree? This person had a contemptuous face just now, don't think he didn't see it. In the blink of an eye, how did he change his face? Could it be because he engraved the boat core? Thinking of this, Sun Hao quickly understood. He picked up the mysterious heavenly pattern and began to look at it. Mysterious heavenly pattern? Sun Hao murmured. Then, he began to flip through it. Every kind of formation pattern, after Sun Hao glanced at it, he remembered it in his mind, and he couldn't forget it even if he wanted to. Moreover, he could find the shortcomings inside and modify it on his own. Wow! Turning page by page, Mo Hausher glanced at it, and his whole heart beat violently. Page 32. Master actually turned to page 32, my God. Mo Hausher's heart was indescribably impacted by huge waves. There was a shocking pressure on this mysterious heavenly pattern. Without formation talent, no matter how strong his strength was, he couldn't flip through it. He used all his strength and couldn't turn to page 4. Who would have thought that Shizhuan would be able to flip to page 32 so easily? Too powerful, too mighty, too domineering. A moment later. Page 58. Page 80. Page 120. The first half has been flipped through? Mo Hausher was dumbfounded in place, unable to calm down for a long time. The first half was filled with ancient formations. In this way, Master's comprehension was incredible and unimaginable. The second half, that was about runes. This was used for engraving talismans, and without the talent of writing talismans, it was impossible to flip through it. Could it be that Master wanted to flip through it? What? Flipped through it? Master is actually also a talisman master? Old Ancestor. Turn to page 12. 25 pages, 63 pages. Flipped through it. Mo Hausher looked at Sun Hao, dumbfounded. On this mysterious heavenly pattern, the pressure was multiplied. There was no way to imagine how strong the pressure on the last page was. Only those with unparalleled talent could continue reading. Master actually easily flipped all the way to the end? Moreover, there was no discomfort at all. What kind of monster was Master? It was so terrifying. Master, you are God in the disciple's heart. Mo Hausher's face was full of worship and fiery eyes. This array diagram is good, you put it away. After saying that, Sun Hao handed the mysterious heavenly pattern back to Mo Hausher. Boom, like a thunderclap. Mo Hausher's mind was blank. Master was unwilling to accept him as a disciple? What should I do? It was not easy to find a master, but he was not willing to accept him. No. Even if I die, I must worship a master. Thinking like this, Mo Hausher kneeled on the ground and walked forward. He knelt directly in front of Sun Hao and clung to his thigh. Master, I beg you, please accept me. Master, without you, disciple can't live. You are the bright light in my heart, illuminating my way forward. Master, please accept this gift from your disciple. Mo Hausher cried bitterly, and had no intention of letting go at all. When Sun Hao saw this scene, 3 black lines appeared on his forehead. He had taken notice of this old man. Born majestic, not easy to approach. He didn't dare to take the initiative to ask. Unexpectedly, under the majestic appearance there was actually such a look. This was really hard to describe in words. On the other side, Zhang Tianping and the other 2 almost dropped their jaws in shock. What about the death of not willing to hand over the mysterious heavenly pattern? How, in the blink of an eye, he was crying and begging to give it away. Moreover, he had become a licking dog? Licking so cleverly. I'm really ashamed. This old guy was really too cunning. Get up first. Sun Hao said. I don't, master, if you don't accept me, I won't get up. Even if you kill me, disciple won't get up. Mo Hausher shook his head firmly, and had no intention of getting up at all. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao showed a helpless look. This was really a toilet stone, smelly and hard. However, how could he accept a disciple when he was a mortal? Teach him to forge? Teach him to carve? Teach him to draw? Was he that piece of material? I have memorized all of this mysterious heavenly pattern. It's useless to hold it. You take it back, maybe it will help. Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, boom! Like the 9th heaven's divine thunder, it exploded in the minds of several people. That kind of shock was indescribable in words. I thought I looked up to Master. Now it seemed that it was far from enough. There was absolutely no second person in the world who could remember such ancient formation patterns and runes at once. Master was definitely a supreme immortal array grandmaster. Moreover, he was also a supreme rune grandmaster. Must become Master's disciple. Must. Mo Hausher clenched his fists with a firm face. He clung to Sun Hao's thigh and had no intention of letting go at all. Master, you cannot accept the gift, but the disciple must accept it. As soon as these words came out, the air around was stagnant. Infinite pressure, sweeping all around, pressed straight toward Mo Hausher. Chapter 138. You dare to threaten Master? Do you think I don't exist? Yu's voice went straight into Mo Hausher's head, shaking him so much that he almost lost his soul. You deserve to die for threatening my master. 2 lowly voices echoed in his mind. In today's world, anyone who dares to threaten Master must die. Such a voice resounded in his mind. Mo Hausher was shaken to the point that his face turned pale and his body trembled. However, he had no intention of letting go. "Seniors, if you want to kill me, then kill me. Even if I die, I will take him as my master." With that, Mo Hausher closed his eyes and quietly waited for death. Sun Hao watched Yu explode again, squawking at Mo Hausher, and couldn't help but shake his head. Little Ing. With this sound, all the pressure instantly dissipated. Mo Hausher heaved a long sigh of relief, and thought to himself that it was a close call. However, phew, a wave of air instantly wrapped him up and threw him out of the courtyard. Bang! His head hit the ground and he was dizzy. The ground was paved with celestial stones, and his face was bruised and swollen. "Humph, you dare to threaten the young master? I'll teach you a lesson first. If there's a next time, die." Huang Rumeng stood in place with a domineering face. His cold killing intent was not concealed at all. When Zhan Tianping and the other two saw this scene, they secretly wiped off their cold sweat. It was just a glance, yet it contained such power. Only an immortal could do that. He did not expect that Madame was also an immortal. It was too terrifying. Sun Hao looked at Huang Rumeng, and his expression also stagnated. They didn't even see how he did it, but he was thrown out just like that. This Mo Hausher was too thick-skinned. He should be taught a lesson. "Master, if you don't accept me as your disciple, I will kneel here every day and never get up." Mo Hausher's voice came from outside the courtyard. "You dare threaten me?" Huang Rumeng's face showed killing intent. When she was about to move, Sun Hao waved his right hand. "Rumeng, that's enough, I've seen his mysterious heavenly pattern. Since he loves to kneel, then kneel, just block his voice." Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." Huang Rumeng waved her right hand, and a layer of membrane enveloped the residence. No matter how Mo Hausher shouted, not a single word came in. "Young Master Zhan, how many boat cores do you need?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, the more the better. However, we don't have any immortal crystals right now. I wonder if young master can buy on credit? When I return to Stargazing Tower, I'll bring it over to young master next time." Zhan Tianping asked. "No problem." Sun Hao nodded. "Many thanks, young master." "No need." Sun Hao continued to pick up the carving knife and began to carve. Because of the observation of the mysterious heavenly pattern, there are a lot of ideas in his heart. Sun Hao began to carve according to his inner thought. His movements were as smooth as flowing water, without the slightest pause. Zhan Tianping stared blankly, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. I've never seen these formation inscriptions before. They're ancient formation inscriptions. Young master actually drew so densely? Aren't you afraid of him exploding? This technique is indescribably perfect. Too scary. The shock in Zhan Tianping's heart was indescribable. He opened his mouth wide and did not react for a long time. When Sun Hao retracted the carving knife and merged 200 immortal crystals, it was fully activated. Bursts of pain on his face flashed away. The power of this immortal boat core is at least 100 times stronger than the one the young master carved before, no, 1,000 times. And the immortal crystals that are fused are only twice as much. Young master's means are simply unimaginable. Zhan Tianping was stunned and did not move for a long time. Sun Hao clearly captured the shock of several people. He was the supreme carving technique and just saw the mysterious heavenly pattern, just engraved by feeling. Unexpectedly, it surprised them to this extent. It seemed that his supreme carving technique was really not a cover. Then, Sun Hao continued to carve. In the stunned eyes of several people, Sun Hao carved out 3 boat cores again. After spending 600 immortal crystals, there were still 520 immortal crystals left. "Young Master Zhan, I'll sell you 4, how about it?" Sun Hao's voice awakened Zhan Tianping. "Young Master, when of course." Zhan Tianping nodded his head like a chicken pecking rice. These 4 boat cores, if used for auction, would definitely be at a sky-high price. And they were all things that the super forces must grab. However, in this Xiang star, no one could really afford to buy them. This thing must not be taken out easily. In the future, 90% of the immortal crystals auctioned by the boat cores would be given to the young master. Otherwise, he would feel guilty. Zhang Tianping thought secretly and made a decision. Since you are here today, everyone, have a simple meal and leave. Sun Hao handed the boat core to Zhang Tianping and said, "Eat." As a cultivator, he had already fasted for a long time. Did he still need to eat? By the way, the young master is now immortal. In that case, let's eat a little with the young master. Thinking like this, Zhang Tianping nodded. Then I'll bother the young master. No bother, no bother. Sun Hao looked at the 4,000 points of blessing point that had increased, and the light flickered. Soon after, the meal was ready. 5 people sat down. A little home-cooked food, don't mind, everyone, eat. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Zhang Tianping picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of tofu, and sent it into his mouth. Frowning, he stretched out in an instant. Golden tofu, with a unique fragrance, filled the entire mouth cavity. Lightly biting down, the tofu was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, exceptionally smooth. The taste bud cells were all active at this moment. It's delicious. Zhang Tianping quickly bit it. Swallowing it into his abdomen, an immortal power surged through his whole body. The cells of his whole body, as if immersed in the warm sun, were exceptionally comfortable. Zhang Tianping could clearly sense that his physical body was getting stronger. This is the immortal power that can temper the physical body. This kind of thing, it's hard to get even with thousands of gold, is actually a common dish here? I even disdain to eat it? I'm AF * king fool. What the young master eats is not ordinary. Zhang Tianping muttered and scolded himself. Then, he let go of the food. Young Master Zhang, I have one thing that I need your help with, Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Tianping's expression stagnated. In his eyes the light flickered. The young master's instructions, even if I give my life to the ground, will never be delayed. Young master, you say, as long as I can do it, I will do it, Zhang Tianping said. There is no need to rush this matter. I heard that you are looking for the godly cunning immortal. Sun Hao asked. Godly cunning immortal? What does the young master mean by this? Does he mind looking for me? Young master, since I met you, I haven't looked for him anymore. You are my only one. Young master, I used to look for him, but I haven't been looking for him recently, Zhang Tianping said. Why not? Sun Hao frowned slightly. A supreme character like the godly cunning immortal, he definitely couldn't find him by himself. If the stargazing tower helped, it would be much easier. Unexpectedly, he actually stopped looking for him. He disappointed himself too much. Seeing Sun Hao's face change, Zhang Tianping's heart thumped. Not good, the young master is angry. What should I do? Chapter 139. Because there has been no news, so I temporarily stopped looking, Zhang Tianping said. Hearing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief. If it was only temporary, then it was fine. Young Master Zhang, what I want your help with is to find the godly cunning immortal. When you find it, let me know. After a while, introduce me to the godly cunning immortal, Sun Hao said. It turned out that the young master was also looking for the godly cunning immortal. That would be easy. Then he had to work hard and complete the mission given by the young master as soon as possible. Rest assured, young master, leave this to me. Zhang Tianping patted his chest and guaranteed. Thank you, young master Zhang. Come, let's eat. Many thanks, young master. After the meal, Zhang Tianping's face was full of gratitude as he cupped his fists and bowed. Young master, we will take our leave now. And remember to come often in the future, Sun Hao said. Definitely. Walking out of the courtyard, Jean Tianping looked at Mo Hao Shi, who was kneeling on the ground, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. With a single glance, the two old men immediately moved. They surrounded Mo Hao Shi in the middle, picked him up and walked away. Soon, they were far away from Sun Hao's residence. You? What do you want? Mo Hao Shi looked fearful. What do you think? Jean Tianping said with a faint smile. I am the young master's disciple. If you dare to make a move, the young master will not let you go. Mo Hao Shi said. He? Disciple? Do you think you're qualified? Did the young master agree? You actually dared to threaten the young master. You should thank the heavens for sparing your life. Are you still dreaming of becoming my disciple? Jean Tianping and the other two looked at Mo Hao Shi with a smile. Sincerity can move metal and stone. One day, I will become the young master's disciple, just you wait. Mo Hao Shi clenched his fists, his face firm. So be it. However, you haven't forgotten the bet we made before, have you? Jean Tianping said. You don't come any closer. I'll call for help if you come any closer. Shout as you like. If I were to break your Tao heart, it wouldn't be as simple as beating you. Bang, bang. Don't hit my face. You're cutting off your descendants. You're too despicable. You bunch of animals, you don't know how to respect the old and love the young. Stop fighting. I was wrong. I'll bark like a dog, okay? When Jean Tianping and the others stopped, Mo Hao Shi's face was full of bumps, too horrible to look at. I, Mo Hao Shi, am a dog beside the young master, woof woof. Seeing Mo Hao Shi's appearance, Jean Tianping and the others beamed with joy. All right, you can go now. Remember, don't break the young master's Tao heart. Jean Tianping said. Humph. Mo Hao Shi coldly snorted and quickly left. He came to a place where there was no one around. Humph. You kids don't know any better. By the young master's side, even such a terrifying existence is a servant. If I can become a dog by the young master's side, that would be such an honor. At this point, Mo Hao Shi had a proud look on his face. Young master, I'm coming. One day, I will move you. With that, Mo Hao Shi rushed up the mountain. The other side, Jean Tianping and the others flew quickly in the sky. Young master, where are we going? An old man asked. Of course, it is to complete the things that the young master has ordered. Jean Tianping said. Are we going to find the godly cunning immortal? The old man asked. Yes. Jean Tianping nodded. Young master, do you have news about the godly cunning immortal? The old man asked. No, but Jade Lake Palace's palace master Luo Luyan will definitely know. Jean Tianping said. Young master, I heard that Luo Luyan is elusive, and the Jade Lake Palace has now become a supreme holy land. Even the half-immortal is defeated. If we go there, I'm afraid? The old man's face showed a look of worry. Jean Tianping smiled slightly with a confident face. Don't worry, I will have a way to make her tell the godly cunning immortal's residence. Young master, the current Jade Lake Palace doesn't sell anyone's face. What can you do? The old man asked. You will know when you get there. Jean Tianping smiled mysteriously and did not answer directly. 3 long rainbows disappeared into the horizon in the blink of an eye. Somewhere in the catacombs of Xiang Star, in a tall tower covered by a skull, a 5-meter-tall humanoid skeleton sat in the main seat, and in its eye sockets, 2 groups of soul flames kept jumping. It was the lord of the evil race, Ghost Candle. In front of Ghost Candle, the corpse puppet patriarch, Mo Hun knelt on the ground, shivering. On both sides stood several patriarchs with different expressions. Each of them was so powerful that people dared not look directly at them. You said that the drought demon was converted by the godly cunning immortal? Ghost Candle's voice was calm, but when he heard it in Mo Hun's ears, he couldn't help but stand on end, and his skinless face was full of horror. Yes, Lord. Mo Hun nodded. Do you know how much it cost me to resurrect the drought demon? Ghost Candle said. Lord, I know. Mo Hun's whole body crawled on the ground, shivering. Since you know this, why did you send the drought demon to his death before his strength was far from recovered? I asked you to raise him well, not to send him out to deal with the godly cunning immortal. Do you know how much damage you've caused to the entire evil race in this operation? In the end, Ghost Candle's voice roared. The sound was deafening, and the patriarchs standing on both sides were taken aback. Wow! Everyone lowered their heads, not daring to look at the two soul flames of Ghost Candle. Lord, I know my mistake. Please spare my life. Mo Hun kowtowed heavily and kept begging for mercy. Ghost Candle didn't speak, just sat there, motionless. There was a dead silence on the whole field. All that could be heard was the sound of Ghost Candle's soul flame jumping. A moment later, Ghost Candle continued to speak. Then did you write down the appearance of the godly cunning immortal? Ghost Candle asked. Of course. Mo Hun nodded heavily. Then, his mind moved. In front of him, a figure slowly emerged. As he recalled, this figure became more and more solid. This figure looked exactly the same as Ningmingji. Lord, this kid looks just like a mortal, but his strength is more terrifying than an immortal. The drought demon didn't even have a chance to resist in front of him. If I hadn't been far away, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to see you now. Mo Hun said. Hearing this, Ghost Candle did not speak. The two soul flames directly mapped Ningmingji's appearance on it. Ghost Candle stretched out his skeletal claw and pointed with his right hand. The soul flame separated into wisps of light and surged onto the claw. Go! With a light shout from Ghost Candle, this wisp of light instantly exploded. It turned into hundreds of millions of wisps of light, like tadpoles, drilling in all directions and pouring into the souls of every evil race. This person is the godly cunning immortal. Whoever sees this person, kill without mercy. A roar rang in the ears of every evil race. At the scene, plop! One by one, the patriarchs knelt down. Yes, Lord. Everyone saluted in unison. Get up. Thank you, Lord. Did I tell you to get up? Ghost Candle's soul flame stared directly at Mo Hun. Lord. With a plop, Mo Hun knelt down directly. This matter was caused by you. I will give you another chance. Within 3 months, bring the head of the godly cunning immortal or your own head to me. Yes, Lord. Chapter 140. Jade Lake Palace in a secret room. Few Luolioyen's group of 5 opened their eyes from their cultivation. Everyone's faces were filled with pleasant surprise. My body has become twice as strong again. This time, it should be able to compete with the body of a 5-step half-immortal dragon clan. Luoluyen said. Not bad. Wenren smiled slightly. Our physical bodies are enough to tear apart a 4-step half-immortal dragon. These 3 days were well spent. However, in the face of the dragon tribe at the 6-step half-celestial stage, as well as the celestial dragon, I'm afraid it's not easy to deal with them. Chen Daoming said. In the entire Violet Sun Star, the only immortal dragon is the Dragon Clan Lord. It's impossible for him to appear. However, there are many dragons at the 6-step half-celestial stage. It's not easy to deal with them. A troubled expression appeared on their faces. Lu Yen, I have an idea. At this time, Mu Bing stood up. You say it, Luoluyen said. Why don't I go back and ask the old ancestor for help? Mu Bing said. Forefather? Luoluyen shook her head slightly. Those are the people who have sealed themselves in the God Source Sea and will not come out easily. Yeah, they won't move until the family is in crisis. Wenren said. I have this. After speaking, Mu Bing took out the couplets she had begged from Sun Hao. Last time, the Xianyuan family could become a holy land. It was all because of the couplet that young master gave her. I heard that even the ancestor of the Xianyuan clan was alarmed. It seems that the old god's lifespan has increased by quite a bit. When we return this time, the clan will become a supreme holy land. I'm sure the old ancestor will be alerted. It shouldn't be a problem to ask him for help, Mu Bing said. When the others heard this, they all nodded. Ancestral patriarchs who could seal themselves in the source of God were existences that were infinitely close to becoming immortals. With them around, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with the Dragon Clan. There's no time to lose. Lil Bing, go back first. Within 10 days, everyone must gather in the West Prefecture Immortal City. Luo Luyen said. Alright. Mu Bing nodded and quickly walked out. After Mu Bing left, when Rensher also stood up, everyone, then I will also go back to the Supreme Court West Courtyard first to make some preparations. Alright. When Rensher also left quickly. After the two of them left, Luo Luyen pointed to the map and said, Fellow Daoist Chen, which side do you think the dragon race will attack from? I think they will attack from all sides. The dragon race has always been very arrogant. In their eyes, humans are like ants. This time, the young master killed the two dragons. It will definitely make the dragon race furious. With their personality, I think they will destroy the entire West Prefecture Immortal City, leaving nothing behind. So, they have to attack from all sides to prevent the fish from escaping the net. Chen Daoming said. That makes sense. Luo Luyen nodded secretly. Then how should we defend? The 5 of us will naturally defend the 4 side. The other one will stand in the middle of the city and be ready to respond at any time. I don't know if this method is good. Chen Daoming asked. Not bad. Cultivator Chen's tactics are quite brilliant. Let's use this tactic against the dragon tribe. The two talked to themselves. Su Yiling stood in place, scratching her head awkwardly from time to time. I'm so stupid. I thought young master was just grumbling. I didn't expect you to have such a deep meaning. Why is young master's test getting harder and harder? Or am I getting more and more stupid? Su Yiling sighed for a while, looking dispirited. Suddenly, Palace Master, there are 3 people outside the array, saying that they are the young masters of the stargazing tower. At this time, a sound came from outside the secret room. Buzz! Luo Luyen opened the door and said, No, let them go back. Palace Master, we have already said so, but they have no intention of leaving, saying that they have treasures for us. No need, let him keep it for himself. Luo Luyen said. Yes, Palace Master. After seeing the disciple leave, Luo Luyen's face was full of sneers. Give treasures? Give gifts? There was only one reason, and that was to inquire about the news of the godly cunning immortal. The young master was cultivating. How could he tell others about him? If he broke his Tao heart, he would never be able to forgive himself. Fellow Taoist Luo, someone wants to inquire about the young master again? Chen Daoming asked. Yes. Luo Luyen nodded. These people are really troublesome. What if this person is the young master of the stargazing tower? Chen Daoming asked. Impossible. Luo Luyen shook her head. These days there have been no less than 5 waves of people pretending to be the young master of the stargazing tower. That's fine, let's continue the discussion. Okay. Outside the Jade Lake Palace Sect Protection Array. Zhan Tianping stood outside the array with 2 old men, waiting quietly. Inside the array, many Jade Lake Palace disciples pointed with their fingers and smiled. Look, someone is pretending to be the young master of the stargazing tower, Zhan Tianping. The disguise is really good, but do you want to deceive the palace master with this trick? Dream on. That's right, these people really don't give up in order to see the godly cunning immortal. Hearing these voices, Zhan Tianping frowned slightly. Someone dared to pretend to be him? Do they want to die? Do they really think that the young master of the stargazing tower is a soft persimmon? Zhan Tianping clenched his fists and made a cracking sound. Young master, let me break the array. An old man asked. Don't worry, wait for the messenger to come. Zhang Tianping said. What if Luo Luyan doesn't want to see us? The old man asked. In any case, we have to enter the Jade Lake Palace today. How can the young master be frightened by a little setback? Isn't it just a godly cunning immortal? What are you afraid of? Zhang Tianping said. Since the young master is so determined, we will risk our lives to accompany you. The two old men nodded secretly, showing a determined look. A moment later, the messenger disciple came quickly. Standing in front of Zhang Tianping, he clasped his fist slightly. There was an array between them. This young master, I'm really sorry. The palace master is inconvenient to see guests. Please take back the treasure and take it yourself. After the messenger disciple bowed and saluted, he stood aside. Looking ahead, he no longer paid attention to Zhang Tianping. The old man's body trembled slightly with anger. He had been with the young master for so many years and had seen many big people, but when had he ever been treated like this? A seventh-class sect actually turned the young master away? Unforgivable, unforgivable. Thinking of this, the old man soared into the sky, grabbed with his right hand, and the sky and earth changed color. Infinite spiritual energy swarmed and gathered in the hands of the old man. Wisps of light gathered more and more. A moment later, it became a ball of light. The dazzling light was so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. A small seventh-class sect actually looks down on people like this, and watch me break the array. After speaking, the old man held the ball of light in his hand, aimed at the array, and blasted it down. Inside the array, a group of disciples saw this scene, and their faces changed slightly. However, they quickly recovered. Another half-immortal came to die. Actually want to die so much, hee. Chapter 141. The old man's punch carried a shocking power. Buzz, all around him, the air kept trembling as if it was about to burst. Without any accident, the old man's fist blasted on the great array. Boom! There was a loud noise, deafening. The great array trembled slightly a few times, then produced an unparalleled recoil force, attacking the old man. Seeing this scene, the old man's face changed drastically. Not good. The old man's body retreated violently. However, it was too late. Boom! There was a loud noise. The old man flew out like a broken kite, sprinkling a rain of blood in the sky. Finally, he fell heavily to the ground. Uncle Fong. Zhang Tianping's expression changed slightly, and he hurried over to help the old man up. Young master, I'm fine, just a little injury. The old man waved his hand, indicating that he was fine. Then, he stood up. The three of them returned to their original place again. When the messenger disciple saw this scene, his face changed slightly. He was not killed by the array? This matter must be reported to the palace master. Thinking like this, the messenger disciple quickly left. Uncle Fong, are you really okay? Zhang Tianping asked. Young master, I'm really fine, everything is thanks to eating at the young master's place, and my physical body is strengthened. Otherwise, the recoil force just now will definitely crush me to pieces, the old man said. Hearing this, Zhang Tianping let out a long sigh of relief. He looked in the direction of the great demon mountain with a grateful face. Young master, thank you. You can rest assured that even if I die, Tianping will definitely complete what you have told me. Zhang Tianping clenched his fists, looking at the great array, and his fighting intent soared. He soared into the sky and stood quietly high in the sky, ready to make a move. At this time, wait! There was a sound. Luo Luyan and the others came quickly. You are Luo Luyan? Zhang Tianping asked. That's right. What are you looking for me for? If you are inquiring about the godly cunning immortal, then please go back. Luo Luyan asked. Of course not, shall we talk inside? Zhang Tianping said. Sure. Luo Luyan looked confident, not caring that these people were half-immortals. Arriving at the main hall, everyone took their seat. Alliance leader Luo, I heard that you have established an evil suppression alliance. I am very impressed. Today, I have come to give you a treasure, so that I can do my best, Zhang Tianping said. What treasure? Luo Luyan asked. A peerless painting. After saying that, Zhang Tianping took out a scroll and said, A peerless painting? Was this guy here to be funny? In today's world, whose painting can be compared to the young master's? How could he bring out such a vulgar object to embarrass himself? Zhang Tianping didn't care about the contemptuous smiles on the faces of Luo Luyan and the others. When you see it later, it will definitely blind your eyes. Please look. After saying that, Zhang Tianping opened the scroll. This was a moon appreciation painting. In the painting, a family was reunited, and a strong emotional Dao rune whistled out. The moment they saw this painting, Luo Luyan and the others stood up. A familiar smell. This painting was definitely made by the young master. Could this person be related to the young master? It must be so. If that was the case, they couldn't afford to offend him. Thinking like this, Luo Luyan took a few long breaths before she calmed down. Are you really Zhang Tianping? Luo Luyan asked. Genuine. Zhang Tianping nodded. Where did this painting come from? Luo Luyan said. Hearing this, Zhang Tianping's face showed a sense of pride. It was given to me by a peerless immortal. Luo Luyan nodded slightly. It seemed that it was right. Tell me your real purpose? Luo Luyan said. Zhang Tianping smiled slightly. Palace Master Luo, I know that you have a close relationship with the godly cunning immortal. This time, I came here according to the request of the peerless immortal to inquire about the news of the godly cunning immortal. As soon as these words came out, Luo Luyan and Chen Daoming looked at each other, stunned. The young master wanted to inquire about their own news? It's not impossible to inquire about the news of the godly cunning immortal, but tell me everything about the peerless immortal you met. Don't hide anything, otherwise I won't tell you. Luo Luyan said. Okay. Then, Zhang Tianping opened his mouth and said. When he met Sun Hao, there was no reservation. When Zhang Tianping finished, Luo Luyan and Chen Daoming breathed a sigh of relief. After calming down, Luo Luyan said, In fact, you have already met the godly cunning immortal. What? Met the godly cunning immortal? When? How come I don't know anything about it? Suddenly, Zhang Tianping seemed to think of something. His pupils contracted and his face changed slightly. Palace Master Luo, you are saying that the peerless immortal I saw was the godly cunning immortal? Zhang Tianping asked. Yes. Luo Luyan nodded. Zhang Tianping and the other two took a breath of cold air. Unexpectedly, what he saw turned out to be the godly cunning immortal. Then why did he want to see himself? What was the reason for this? Zhang Tianping's whole person was stunned. Palace Master Luo, why did the young master want to see himself? Zhang Tianping asked. Luo Luyan smiled slightly, revealing an inscrutable smile. There are two reasons. First, the young master is immortal, so naturally he can't reveal what he did. Second, that's more complicated, Luo Luyan said. Palace Master Luo, please give me some pointers. Tianping is grateful. Zhang Tianping clasped his fist. Well said. How about I exchange a painting with you? Luo Luyan asked. Of course, even if this painting is given to Alliance Master Luo, it's no problem. Zhang Tianping said. That's not necessary. After speaking, Luo Luyan took out a Climb to Height painting and gave it to Zhang Tianping. Zhang Tianping's pupils shrank and his face was full of shock. This is also the young master's work. Yes. Luo Luyan nodded. Thank you, Alliance Master Luo. Please solve my doubts. Zhang Tianping clasped his fist. You're welcome, young Master Zhang. Let me ask you, have you ever heard of what the young master did? Luo Luyan asked. Naturally. The young master calculated everything, laid out in advance, destroyed the demons, and killed the blood phoenix. He is simply a savior. Such deeds are a model for my generation to learn from. Jean Tianping said. Luo Luyan nodded. If you were the demon lord, what would you do? Naturally, I hate the young master to the bone, and I will find a way to get rid of him as soon as possible, Jean Tianping said. Well said. Luo Luyan stood up with a cautious face. Now, the evil and demon races, if they want to destroy the young master, they will do anything. The young master can naturally calculate all this, and he is cultivating now, so it is not appropriate to come forward. The young master said this, in fact, he wants to find someone to become the godly cunning immortal. In this way, the young master can better lay out behind the scenes. Can you understand what I mean? Luo Luyan said. Hearing this, Jean Tianping took a few breaths. It turned out that the young master meant this. He was stupid and didn't know at all. If he didn't come to Jade Lake Palace today, he would definitely misunderstand the young master's meaning. At that time, he would be in big trouble. What if the evil and demon races found the young master's true body and destroyed him at all costs? Thinking of this, Jean Tianping's body trembled. It took him a long time to calm down. He looked at Luo Luyan, showing a grateful expression. Alliance Master Luo's words really enlightened me. Chapter 142. Master, why did you change the ascend to heights? Su Yiling looked puzzled. It's very simple. The young master sent him to deliver the moon appreciation painting. There must be a profound meaning. The moon appreciation painting must be accepted. Luo Luyan said. Master, just accept it. Why exchange it? Because the moon admiring painting was given to him by the young master. How can we steal it? Master, can't you use the dragon soaring on the clouds painting or other paintings to exchange for it? This won't do. These 5 paintings are a whole and can't be separated. There must be some deeper meaning to them. As for your green pine painting, it is incomplete, Luo Luyan said. Oh, okay. Su Yiling snorted and nodded slightly. In the sky above the Great Law continent, on an airship flying towards the Holy Land, Jean Tianping and the other 2 sat together. Young Master wants us to find a substitute. Who should we find? Old Feng said. Is there a need to think about it? Young Master, let me do it, Elder Jing said. Jean Tianping shook his head. No. Since the young master did not name us to pretend to be the godly cunning immortal, then it won't do. Besides, our strength is still too weak. We are far from being a match for the evil race. Our deaths are a small matter, but not being able to complete the task assigned to us by the young master is a big matter. Therefore, the stronger the person we are looking for, the better. In this way, there will be more time for the young master to lay out his plan. Jean Tianping said. The 2 old men nodded slightly. Young master, the strongest people in the entire Skylaw continent are the patriarchs of the 3 great families. Are we going to look for them? Old Feng asked. That's the only way. I heard that the old ancestor of the Xianyuan family has also heard about young master's news. I think he will agree. However, I feel that the strength of the Xianyuan family's ancestor is still too low, Jean Tianping said. Young master, you want to invite an immortal? Elder Feng asked. It would be best to invite an immortal. Jean Tianping nodded. But the 9 immortals of the human race have not shown themselves for tens of thousands of years. Moreover, how did they manage to get their help? Elder Feng was puzzled. Sincerity can move metal and stone. I believe that if we tell the young master everything, that immortal might agree. The most difficult thing now is to find the immortals. Just as he finished speaking, buzz, there was a tremor. Jean Tianping took out a jade slip from his chest pocket. When he saw the message on it, a strange light bloomed in his eyes. On it was written, Young Master, the scouts have come to report that the Jade Pearl Cave abode has been opened. I believe that Ujizi has returned. What an unintentional willow tree. Back then, in order to find immortals, he had exhausted all his methods. In the end, He had no choice but to plant spies in all the caves that the ninth spirit had lived in. As soon as the immortals returned, they were to send out the news. Who would have thought that an immortal would actually appear now? Look! Jean Tianping showed the jade slip to the two elders. When the two old men saw this, their pupils constricted and their faces were filled with shock. Young master, God bless us. This time, the young master's task can be completed. Elder Fong said. Heavens! How can there be such a coincidence in this world? Jean Tianping smiled and shook his head. Hearing this, Elder Fong frowned slightly, as if he had thought of something, and his eyes narrowed. Young master, what you mean is that all of this was planned by the young master. Young master calculated the birth of Yu Jizi and wanted to invite him to be the godly cunning immortal on the surface. That's right. Jean Tianping nodded secretly, his heart beating violently. If he hadn't gone to Jade Lake Palace, how could he understand this? The young master really calculated everything and controlled everything. He was a supreme existence. We can only be the chess pieces in the hands of the young master and help him play a big game of chess. This was a supreme glory. Young master, this Yu Jizi has lived for tens of thousands of years. I'm afraid we can't invite him. Elder Fong said. Yes, young master. Elder Jing said. Jean Tianping smiled slightly. Don't worry about this. What I'm worried about now is that I can't find any trace of Yu Jizi. Young master, do you have a wonderful plan? Naturally. Jean Tianping smiled slightly. Supreme Court West Court. Outside the great array, thousands of people stood there, waiting quietly. Among them, there was Fong Ning, the great elder of the Fong family in the northern domain. Fong Ning stood there with nearly 1,000 people with his arms crossed. Not far from them was the gate of the Supreme Court West Court. Outside the gate array, there were nearly 1,000 middle-aged men in black robes sitting cross-legged on the ground. They were all embroidered with the mark of the Supreme Court. The leader was dressed in a purple robe. He held the scabbard in his right hand, sat on the ground, closed his eyes, and remained motionless. Even if he didn't open his eyes, that kind of power, emanating from his body, made people dare not approach. Who is that person? What a strong power! You don't even know him. He is the supervisor of the Supreme Court, Jiang Kuan. What? Is that Jiang Kuan who has reached the second step half-immortal? Yes, it's him. Farther away, there were many people from other sections. They looked at the Supreme Court West Court and discussed with each other. At a glance, on the ground and in the sky, it was densely packed with people. The number was so large that there were probably tens of thousands. It's been so long, why hasn't this Wenrenshire come back yet? It's you, do you dare to come back? There are several half-immortals alone. Not to mention, there are Jiang Kuan and Fong Ning, the second step half-immortals. Yeah, most likely he won't dare to come back. If he doesn't come back, the position of the Supreme Court West Court Dean will change hands. Suddenly, look! A cry of exclamation shook the audience. Looking around, many cultivators' pupils shrank, and their faces were full of surprise. That's Wenrenshire, great, he's back. He actually dared to come back? You sure have guts. This is interesting, let's see how he deals with it? Deal with it? Then hand over the immortal sword and tell the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal. If we can learn the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal, I'm afraid we can also get amazing fortune. Amazing fortune my ass, with so many people rushing over, the godly cunning immortal will definitely be unhappy. Be careful that the godly cunning immortal will slap everyone to death. The whole scene was getting more and more intense. Many immortal cultivators moved closer to the Supreme Court to seek the best observation position. Outside the gate of the Supreme Court. You're back? Fong Ning opened his eyes and the corners of his mouth curled up. I thought you weren't coming back. Jiang Kuan also suddenly opened his eyes and spoke faintly with a calm face. In the sky. A long rainbow came quickly. He was Wenrenshire. He looked at this scene and couldn't help but frown slightly. What was going on? He actually dared to surround the Supreme Court? Quite a lot of courage. Suddenly, when Rensher raised his eyebrows and stared directly outside the gate of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court Inspector Jiang Kuan? The great elder of the Fong clan in the Northern Territory Fong Ning? They came with bad intentions. But, so what? No matter what your purpose is, does this old man still need to be afraid of you? When Rensher slowly landed. He walked directly to Jiang Kuan, clasped his fist and saluted. I don't know why the inspector is here? The corners of Jiang Kuan's mouth raised slightly, and he said, Don't worry, wait for you to solve your own affairs first, then we'll talk. After speaking, Jiang Kuan continued to close his eyes. That appearance, like a poisonous snake hiding in the dark, made people very uncomfortable. All right. When Rensher smiled slightly, turned around, stood a step forward, and spoke loudly. Everyone, what business do you have in my Supreme Court West Academy? Chapter 143. Dean Wen, I heard that you are very close to the godly cunning immortal, is that true? When Rensher, opportunities need to be shared. Don't take it all for yourself. That's right, you tell us the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal. Otherwise, I'm afraid today's matter won't be good. Many immortal cultivators flew over and shouted. Hearing this, when Rensher raised the corner of his mouth, Are you threatening me? So what if I threaten you? At this time, a strong man galloped over and stood directly in front of Wen Rensher. Seeing this person, the cultivators couldn't help but be surprised. It's him? Hammer Freak. What? Old monster giant hammer? He actually came out of the mountain? Even the Fong family is here. What's the big hammer monster? All the cultivators fixed their eyes on giant hammer monster. He patted his round belly and took out a black hammer. He stood forward, pointed at Wen Rensher and shouted, Wen Rensher, seeing that you are the dean of the Supreme Court's West Academy, I will let you go. As long as you tell the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal and hand over the immortal sword, I will spare your life. What do you think? The threat was extremely strong. When Rensher smiled slightly and looked indifferent. What if not? You will definitely die today. Old monster giant hammer swung his hammer. Really? When Rensher raised the corner of his mouth, and his figure disappeared instantly. Like a bolt of lightning, he pounced on old monster giant hammer. Old hammer monster revealed a disdainful smile when he saw this. The hammer, which had long been charged up, aimed at Wen Rensher and smashed down. Boom! There was a loud noise. The hammer in the old hammer monster's hand was smashed into powder by Wen Rensher's punch. At the same time, his body flew out like a kite with a broken string. Boom! He fell to the ground and created a deep pit. Old Hammer Freak clutched his chest, his expression extremely ugly. Pointing at Wen Rensher, you. Before he finished his words. Boom! His body directly disintegrated into powder, and with a gust of wind, he disappeared. Such a scene strongly stimulated the eyes of the crowd of cultivators. The entire scene was dead silent. All of them were dumbstruck. One punch? He killed the giant hammer monster without using his spiritual power? Even the hammer in old monster giant hammer's hand was blown into pieces? Just how strong was his physical body? Hiss, the sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air rose and fell. A group of cultivators looked at Wen Rensher, their faces full of fear. A hint of fear flashed across Fong Ning and Jiang Kuan's faces. After a long while, only then did everyone gradually recover. Following that, the sound of explosions continued to ring out. God, this Wen Rensher is simply a monster! When have I ever seen him so powerful? There's no need to look. It must be the good fortune he obtained from the godly cunning immortal. If I can know the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal, I can also get this kind of good fortune. The crowd of immortal cultivators stood rooted to the ground, their faces filled with fiery gazes. Who else? When Rinshur stood in the square and glanced around, those who came into contact with him lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. Dean 1. At this moment, Fong Ning walked forward confidently. Elder Fong, what's the matter? When Rinshur asked. Naturally. Fong Ning stepped forward and said, Fong family's genius, Fong Xiaoxiao, was seriously injured in the Blood Phoenix nest, and her foundation was damaged. Even the Tao Protector died tragically inside, but you came out unscathed. You have to give my Fong family an explanation for this matter. Explanation? When Rinshur sneered, what kind of explanation do you want? It's not easy for my Fong family to cultivate geniuses. As the Dean of the Supreme Court's West Academy, you don't save her. This matter can't be justified by reason or emotion. Today we won't force you, you just need to hand over the immortal sword. Fong Ning said. What if I don't hand it over? One Rinshur said. What do you think? Fong Ning's face was full of killing intent. If I hand over the immortal sword to you, then, will Supervisor Jiang let me go? I only have one immortal sword, how should I divide it? When Rinshur said. Of course it's for me. At this time, Jiang Kuan stood up. Why? Fong Ning sneered. Because I'm from the Supreme Court, because I'm stronger than you. Jiang Kuan released his breath and walked towards Fong Ning step by step. Thud thud, Fong Ning took 2 steps back, his face full of fear. He pointed at Jiang Kuan. You broke through? What do you think? Jiang Kuan asked. You? So what if you've broken through? At most, we'll just fight to the death. This immortal sword, my Fong clan is determined to get it. Fong Ning said. Talking about it now is useless. Let's snatch the immortal swords first before splitting them up. What do you think? Jiang Kuan said. Alright. The two of them stared directly at Wen Rinshur. Jiang Kuan walked straight to Wen Rinshur and stretched out his hand. Give me the immortal sword. Do you want it? Wen Rinshur said. And Jiang Kuan's expression froze for a moment before he nodded slightly. Yes, just say it. If you don't say it, how do I know you want it? Wen Rinshur said. Jiang Kuan's complexion changed slightly. His aura surged and rushed straight to Wen Rinshur. However, it was useless. Wen Rinshur stood there, motionless. Did I say I was going to give it to you? Wen Rinshur said with a smile and put away the immortal sword directly. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding air became stagnant. Everyone's face was full of disbelief, staring at this scene in a daze. When Rinshur was playing with the inspector, was he going to rebel? This time, no one could save him. The corner of Jiang Kuan's mouth twitched slightly, his face was livid, and his fists were clenched. As the inspector, he had monstrous power in the Supreme Court, and had never suffered such humiliation. Are you playing with me? Jiang Kuan's voice was cold. What do you think? After Wen Rinshur finished speaking, his face gradually became cold. An austere killing intent rose continuously. Don't think I don't know what you are doing here. Inspector? Bah. Everyone, listen up. The godly cunning immortal is cultivating in seclusion and cannot be disturbed by anyone. You don't fight against the evil demons, but only attack your own people. It is simply despicable and shameless. Since you want to seize my immortal sword and good fortune, then you must have the awareness of death. Also, if anyone dares to inquire about the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal again, die. Wen Rinshur's voice, like rolling thunder, echoed between heaven and earth. After speaking, Wen Rinshur strode toward the Supreme Court West Academy. Stunned, everyone was stunned in place, full of disbelief. An Ascendant Realm Dean was so arrogant in front of so many half-immortals? Jiang Kuan looked at this scene and his hatred grew. He and Fong Ning looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Kill. With a wave of his hand, each took 2 half-immortals and rushed straight to Wen Rinshur. As soon as they made their move, all 6 of them used killing move. Buzz, the world trembled, and the waves of air whistled. The shock waves spread around layer by layer. The sound of explosions kept ringing. Many cultivators flew back, away from the center of the battle. Sensing the attack behind him, Wenrenshur smiled coldly. Since you want to die, don't blame this old man for being ruthless. He stood in place, without the slightest intention of moving. Boom! Boom! The loud noise whistled. The sound of explosions rang out continuously. The dazzling light made people unable to open their eyes. It took a long time for the surroundings to calm down. Everyone opened their eyes and saw the scene in front of them. Their pupils shrank and they couldn't believe it. They saw that Wenrenshur stood in place, intact. Fang Ning and Jiang Kun widened their eyes with a look of disbelief. Their bodies trembled involuntarily. What kind of monster was this? With the 6 people's unique skills, even a 4-step half-immortal would be seriously injured. And he didn't have any scars at all? How could he be so strong by relying on his physical body alone? This was impossible. The two kept shaking their heads, unable to believe everything in front of them. At the moment when they were stunned, Wenrenshur quickly made his move and grabbed the heads of the 2 half-immortals. Boom! 2 sounds rang out at the same time. Before the 2 could react, their heads burst open, and red and white things splashed everywhere. Boom! The headless body fell down softly. The other 2 half-immortals' scalps exploded, and they quickly flew back. It's just that, where was it in time? Boom! The 2 heads exploded at the same time. Finally, like a weak chicken, they fell softly to the ground, twitched a few times, and then there was no movement. Chapter 144. All around there was dead silence. Everyone looked at Wenrenshur as if they were looking at a terrifying monster. Killing a half-immortal with bare hands was as simple as slaughtering a chicken. In today's world, even the half-immortal dragon clan would not be so simple, right? What kind of monster is he? This physical body is too terrifying. Never seen, never heard of. It seems that the good fortune he obtained is unimaginable. The onlookers muttered to themselves, unable to say a complete sentence for a long time. Jiang Kun and Fang Ning looked at Wenrenshur, their liver and gallbladder cracked. Their legs trembled violently involuntarily. Plop! The 2 of them knelt down at the same time. Dean, I was wrong, spare my life. Dean, this little one deserves to die, no more ideas about your immortal sword. After saying that, the 2 of them kept kowtowing. Wenrenshur smiled coldly, stretched out his hand, and 2 slaps came over. Their faces changed dramatically, and they quickly used their shields. At the same time, they used their weapons to block in front of them. No! The shouting stopped abruptly. The palm directly smashed the weapon, and the speed did not decrease, directly slapping the 2 people's heads. Boom! 2 sounds rang out at the same time. The shield and the head cracked in response. Boom! The headless corpse fell directly to the ground, twitching non-stop. Blood sprayed all over the ground. All around there was dead silence again. Dead? They are all dead? Of the 2 of them, one is a 3-step half-immortal, the other is a 2-step half-immortal. This Wenrenshur is too terrifying. The onlookers looked at Wenrenshur, their faces full of fear. Wenrenshur stood there, his eyes sweeping. Anyone who was swept, lowered their heads one after another, not daring to look straight at him. The people who survived the Fang family and the Supreme Court were full of fear. They stood in place, shivering, and did not dare to move at all. Killing their leader was like slaughtering a chicken. What was the difference between them rushing forward and courting death? Who else? Wenrenshur roared. No one responded. There was only dead silence all around. Wenrenshur stared at the supervisory envoys and said, "Listen up. Dean, if you have any instructions, just say it." A man stood trembling on the spot. "Help me pass a message to the first Dean. Since he sent people to oppress this old man like this, then, from today onwards, this old man will withdraw from the Supreme Court. From now on, it has nothing to do with the Supreme Court." When Rensher said, "Yes, yes," the man cupped his fists and bowed respectfully. "And the rest of you, if you want my celestial sword, come at me." After speaking, when Rensher strode into the Supreme Court West courtyard. A moment later, he strode out again. Swish, then, it turned into a rainbow and disappeared into the horizon. Ha ha, when Rensher let out a burst of laughter, seemingly spitting out all the grievances in his heart for many years. Is this the carefree that young master spoke of? Now leaving the Supreme Court feels so cool. Without restraints, I can do things better for young master. Young master, you only need to worry about the arrangements behind the scenes. I will be the chess piece in your hands. I will kill wherever you point at. When Rensher murmured, clenching his fists firmly. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye 2 days had passed. After nearly 3 days of flying, Mu Bing finally arrived at the Holy Land of the Central Plains. Seeing everything in the Holy Land, Mu Bing shook her head for a while. After staying in the Jade Lake Palace for a long time, it was like walking from a big city into a remote mountain area. Only barrenness was reflected in front of her. Suddenly, Mu Bing raised her eyebrows. Looking in the direction of the Xianyuan family, she couldn't help but widen her eyes. The continuous destiny turned into a substance, like the starlight sprinkling all over the sky. Even in the daytime, it was extremely dazzling. Xianyuan family? Don't be complacent. I will also make the Mu family a supreme holy land. Time is running out, I must return to the family as soon as possible. Thinking like this, Mu Bing sped up and ran through the crowd. She glanced behind her from the corner of her eyes, and a cold, killing intent flashed across her eyes. Not long after she left, in the crowd, a man in a black robe raised the corner of his mouth slightly. "You're finally back." The man's figure flashed and disappeared. Soon after, Mu Bing came to the gate of the Mu family. "Sister Mu Bing, so beautiful. I can feel a strong pressure from Sister Mu Bing. Sister Mu Bing is indeed a genius." As soon as she stood at the gate, a group of children surrounded her. Like stars surrounding the moon, they surrounded Mu Bing. This was the first time she was surrounded by so many children. She remembered that when she was 2 years old, she had a serious illness and almost died. Even if she came back to life later, there was no one to play with her, and her talent was only average in the Mu family. All the time, as a branch, she had been living in the shadow of the genius Mu Chun. All the resources of the family were tilted to Mu Chun, and she was sent to the Supreme Court West courtyard to fend for herself. Now, returning to the family, looking at the enthusiastic appearance of a group of children, a kind of warmth surged through her heart. "I don't know how father and mother are, they will be very surprised to know that I'm back, right? I will give you a bigger surprise later. Your daughter is not a waste." Mu Bing clenched her fists and nodded secretly. "Sister Mu Bing, don't just stand there, the patriarch and aunt are still waiting for you." "Patriarch?" Mu Bing looked surprised. It seemed that they must have known that she had killed the black-armored knight. Also, they knew that she was very close to the godly cunning immortal. However, to find out the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal? That was absolutely impossible. Thinking like this, Mu Bing followed this group of children and walked into the mansion. Entering the Mu family hall. "Bing-er, you're back. You've worked hard, sit inside." She saw that a graceful and luxurious middle-aged woman walked up quickly. Her face was full of smiles, looking at people's eyes, like a spring breeze, very comfortable. This middle-aged woman was the wife of the patriarch, and also the aunt in the children's mouth. Mu Bing looked at the middle-aged woman, her face showing a trace of surprise. When had she ever seen the aunt smile at herself? This was a dream, right? Bing-er, it was aunt who was not sensible before, and let you suffer grievances. Aunt didn't apologize to you. After speaking, the middle-aged woman bowed and saluted. When Mu Bing saw it, she hurriedly helped the middle-aged woman up. "Aunt, don't. I've forgotten the things of the past." "Bing-er, you're so sensible, come, rest inside." After speaking, The middle-aged woman pulled Mu Bing and walked into the hall. As soon as she entered the hall, she saw the patriarch, Mu Hong, coming straight up with a smile on his face. Bing it's great that you're back, Mu Hong said. The originally dignified patriarch could actually smile? Although the smile was so ugly, at least he smiled. Mu Bing looked stunned, and her face was full of surprise. Greetings, patriarch. Mu Bing bowed and saluted. Don't. Mu Hong hurriedly helped Mu Bing up. Bing you've worked hard outside, take a break and have a cup of tea. When Mu Bing sat down, Mu Hong waved his hand, and someone immediately served tea. Bing this is spirit tea. Drink it while it's hot, don't waste it. The middle-aged woman urged. Spirit tea? At most, it was just ordinary spirit tea. Could it be compared with the young master's immortal tea and enlightenment tea? She had drunk so many of those supreme treasures, why would she care about this little spirit tea? However, due to her face, she had to take a few sips. Thank you, patriarch, thank you, aunt. After speaking, Mu Bing picked up the cup, and when she was about to drink it, she couldn't help but frown. Then, she swallowed it in one gulp, wrapped it with immortal power, and secretly expelled it from her body. Seeing Mu Bing drink it in one gulp, Mu Hong and the middle-aged woman looked at each other. A touch of contempt flashed. By the way, where are my parents? Mu Bing asked. I've sent someone to call them, they should be here soon. Bing I heard that you have seen the godly cunning immortal? Mu Hong said. Yes, patriarch, Mu Bing can have today, thanks to the godly cunning immortal. Mu Bing said. Then can you tell us the whereabouts of the godly cunning immortal? Let's go and pay our respects. Mu Hong said. Mu Bing shook her head slightly. Patriarch, the godly cunning immortal is cultivating in seclusion, and it is not appropriate for him to meet guests. If we force him to ask for good fortune, I'm afraid it will make the godly cunning immortal unhappy and self-defeating. When the two heard this, they nodded slightly. A touch of killing intent flashed away. Bing I heard that you obtained an immortal sword from the godly cunning immortal, is that true? Mu Hong asked. Yes. Mu Bing nodded. After saying this, Mu Bing pressed her head and showed a sleeping appearance. Gradually, she completely lost consciousness. Bing Bing Mu Hong and the other two called out a few times, but Mu Bing did not respond. It's done. The two looked at each other, their faces full of joy. Come, patriarch. Several black-clothed men ran in quickly. Take her to the secret prison and lock her up. Go quickly. Yes, patriarch. Soon, the black-clothed man carried Mu Bing and quickly left. Hong, is there a need to be so nervous? The middle-aged woman said. What do you know, the godly cunning immortal is a place that can turn the Xianyuan family into a supreme holy land. A little bit of aura can make us turn into ashes, it's better to be careful. Chapter 145. Mu Family's Secret Prison. Mu Bing slowly opened her eyes. Mu Bing struggled and found that her whole body was bound by thick iron chains. She looked up and saw Mu Hong and Madame looking at her with cold smiles on their faces. Patriarch, what is the meaning of this? Mu Bing asked. What do you mean? Mu Hong smiled coldly. Aren't you asking the obvious? Tell me, where is the godly cunning immortal? Haha, don't even think about it. Mu Bing said. Have some backbone. I'll see which is harder, your bones or the iron hook. After saying that, Mu Hong gave him a look. Then, a hunchback walked in. He grinned, revealing a few large yellow teeth. He looked very disgusting. He looked at Mu Bing and said, With your delicate skin and tender flesh, it's better for you to speak the truth so that you won't suffer any physical pain. Let me tell you, this is called the soul-severing claw. Once it pierces into your flesh, it will produce a soul-tearing pain. It's not something you can endure. If you don't want to suffer, just say it, the hunchback said. Pooh! Mu Bing spat out a mouthful of saliva. Little girl, you forced me to do this. Then, the hunchback carefully stabbed Mu Bing's arm with the soul-splitting claw. Ding, the sound of metal clashing rang out. Mu Bing's skin seemed to be made of diamond. It couldn't pierce through at all. How was this possible? Beads of sweat appeared on the hunchback's forehead. Even the physical body of the dragon clan couldn't be this strong, right? Hurry up. What are you waiting for? Mu Hong said. Yes, Patriarch. The hunchback gritted his teeth and roared with all his might. Slash! The sound of flesh being pierced rang out. Ah! A shrill scream was heard. The hunchback fell to the ground and let out a shrill scream. The soul-splitting claw pierced into his finger. His appearance was as if he was being tortured, and words could not describe it. What happened? Ma, Patriarch, her physical body is too strong. This soul-splitting claw can't pierce through it at all. With that, the hunchback let out another mournful scream. It can't be pierced? Mu Hong frowned slightly. He took out a long sword and slashed at Mu Bing. Bang, the long sword cracked, but it did not cause any damage to Mu Bing. Mu Hong and the middle-aged woman were dumbfounded. This was a superior-grade spirit artifact, and it was infused with immortal energy. How could it be broken so easily? Just how strong was her physical body? Both of their faces were filled with fear. Hong, what should we do? Now we can only seal the power in her body, but not her physical body. If she struggles free and jumps up, what should we do? The middle-aged woman asked. Humph, what's there to be afraid of? Mu Hong's face was filled with murderous intent. He looked at Mu Bing and said, Hand over the sword and I can spare your life. Don't even think about it. Mu Bing smiled coldly. If you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then there's no other way. I can only ask someone to break open your soul space. Mu Hong said. Hearing this, the middle-aged woman's expression changed dramatically. Hong, if you break her soul space like this, she will die. Soft-hearted. As long as we get the immortal sword, what do we have to fear? With that, Mu Hong left quickly. After a while, Mu Hong walked in with a man in a blood-red robe. Bloodthirsty, sinister, cold, all kinds of aura rushed over. Mu Bing looked at the man in the blood-red robe, her pupils constricted. Sure enough, the person who followed me was him. Mu Hong, you actually colluded with the demon race? You should be punished according to the law. Mu Bing roared. Colluded? Punished? Mu Hong smiled coldly. You know nothing. Do we, a small Mu family, have the qualifications to collude? The man in the blood-red robe licked his lips as if he saw a pile of delicious food. What a delicious taste, what a rich blood chi. This trip is worth it. The man in the blood-red robe said. Your Honor, please break her soul space, she will be your food. Mu Hong said. Okay. The man in the blood-red robe walked forward, his body surging with blood chi. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the entire secret room. A wave of pressure surged in all directions. These blood chi quickly condensed and formed a blood claw. Cold, icy cold aura enveloped all directions. This blood claw seemed to be able to tear apart the soul and break everything. Little doll, die. After the man in the blood-red robe said, he controlled the blood claw and grabbed at Mu Bing. Seeing this scene, Mu Hong's eyes revealed a cruel smile. Mu Bing, even if you die, you won't think that your spiritual root when you were a child was transplanted by me to Chen. The reason why he is so strong now is all because of you. However, I really didn't expect that after your spiritual root was taken away, you could still grow to this extent. It's really surprising, but from now on you will no longer exist. Mu Hong muttered to himself, his eyes flickering. What he didn't know was that these voices were clearly heard by Mu Bing. Sure enough, in Mu Bing's eyes, a killing intent flashed away. I wanted to forget, but you made me remember again. We are of the same root, but you disregard the brotherhood for your own selfish interests. Today you must die. On Mu Bing's body, the cold killing intent rose continuously. Her hair danced wildly, and her breath soared to the sky. Bang bang, the chains binding her body broke apart one by one. When the blood claw pounced, she stretched out her right hand and gently clenched it. Boom! There was a loud noise. The entire secret room trembled violently. Before the blood-robed man could react to what was going on, he saw that Mu Bing had already arrived in front of him. Her slender jade-like hand grabbed his neck. Woo! The blood-robed man was like a chicken with its neck twisted. No matter how he struggled, it was useless. The young master is right, evil demons should not exist in this world. After speaking, Mu Bing gently clenched. Gotcha! There was an explosion. The blood-robed man's neck was twisted, his head tilted, and his body fell softly to the ground. After twitching a few times, there was no movement. Mu Hong looked at this scene, and his whole person stood dumbfounded in place. How was this possible? How did she break free? This was made of the best spirit iron. How could her strength reach this level? Mu Hong muttered to himself, with a look of disbelief. However, in the moment when Mu Hong was stunned, Mu Bing had already arrived in front of him, looking down at him. What do you want to do? Mu Hong's voice trembled. What do you think? Mu Bing smiled coldly. You want to kill someone? Mu Hong's face was full of fear. Suddenly, he moved. A purple smoke sprayed out from his hand, and in an instant it wrapped Mu Bing. Ha ha! Mu Bing, you're still too inexperienced. Don't you know how to capture the enemy before talking? Now you've been hit by my ecstasy powder, and you still have strength. Mu Hong's face was full of pride. When the purple smoke disappeared, he saw Mu Bing standing in the same place, intact. That's impossible. You're immune to my poison. Regarding Mu Hong's surprise, Mu Bing was completely unharmed. You're right, capture the enemy before talking. She lifted Mu Hong up as if she was holding a little chick. Similarly, the middle-aged woman who fainted in place was also lifted up. Boom! There was an explosion. Mu Bing broke through the ground and stood in the sky. Chapter 146. What happened? Why did the forbidden area explode? Let's go and see. Many disciples of the Mu family were awakened and looked in the direction of the forbidden area. They were preparing to move. At this time, whoosh, a long streak of light arrived at a rapid speed. This long rainbow was Mu Bing. She stood in the main hall of the Mu family, her eyes sweeping around. Look! Soon, someone found Mu Bing. Who is she? Why did she appear here? She is fifth uncle's daughter Mu Bing. The person in her hand seems to be the patriarch. What? The patriarch and auntie were captured by her? How can she be so strong? What is she doing? Many disciples' faces revealed a look of panic. The patriarch was captured beyond imagination. Whoosh, more than a dozen figures soared into the sky and surrounded Mu Bing. Mu Bing, what are you doing? Hurry up and let go of the patriarch. Are you going to rebel? Is the patriarch someone you can capture? Mu Bing, let's talk nicely. Let go of the patriarch first. More than a dozen elders surrounded Mu Bing, threatening and tempting her. Regarding these, Mu Bing directly ignored. She stood in place, motionless. What are you still doing? Mu Bing betrayed the family, hurry up and capture her. Mu Hong struggled and let out a hysterical roar. However, noisy. Mu Bing faintly spoke, her right hand lightly clapped. Like a heavy hammer hitting Mu Hong's head. Boom! With a loud noise, Mu Hong fainted. Whoosh! Mu Bing gently tossed. The two were imprisoned in the air, motionless. Such a scene strongly stimulated the eyes of the elders. Presumptuous, dare to hit the patriarch, treason! An elder with a bad temper rushed straight to Mu Bing. Buzz! Pulling out a long sword, he aimed at Mu Bing's heart and stabbed it. This sword was aimed at taking Mu Bing's life. Humph! Mu Bing coldly snorted, stretched out two fingers and flicked forward. Courting death. The elder's face was filled with a cold smile. Bang! A sound rang out. The long sword in the long hand's hand shattered inch by inch and exploded into dust. How is this possible? The elder's eyes widened in shock. In the next instant, his pupils constricted and his scalp went numb. No, the shout stopped abruptly. Without slowing down, Zhang Xian flicked the elder's glabella. Boom! Heaven and earth shook. Starting from his brain, the elder's body slowly disintegrated into a bloody mist, and he died on the spot. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Shattering a spirit artifact with a finger? Exploding a half-immortal with a single finger? Was he still human? It was too scary. Hiss! The sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air rose and fell. Be it the elders or the disciples, they were all extremely fearful right now. It was unknown whether it was a good or bad thing for the family to produce such a monster. They stared at Mu Bing, not daring to move. Mu Bing also closed her eyes and remained motionless. After a while, her eyes burst out 2 rays of light, looking at the horizon. Mu Chen, don't hide, come out if you're here. His voice was like thunder, rolling out. Ha ha, a hearty laughter sounded. Immediately afterward, a man in white rushed over. He had a handsome face and quite a bit of temperament. Just standing there, the disciples below burst into exclamations. The Taoist is here. So handsome. No one can match this temperament. I heard that the Taoist is already a 2-step half-immortal, and his real combat power can fight with a 4-step half-immortal. I don't know if it's true or not. That's the strength of half a year ago, okay? The Taoist has already broken through. Fierce discussions continued to ring out. Hearing this, the corner of Mu Chen's mouth slightly raised, and his head slightly raised. He looked at Mu Bing and said with a smile, Sister Mu Bing, why did you capture my parents? What do you think? Mu Bing stared directly at Mu Chen, making his heart tremble and afraid to look at her. I think you're going to betray the family. Mu Chen's voice increased. Hee, so what if I betray the family? As the patriarch, when did he ever treat me as a family member? Peel off my spirit root and put it in your body. All the family's resources are for you to use. Now, he wants to break my soul sea and devour my body. Do you think I can let him go? As soon as these words came out, boom, like a thunderclap, it blasted in everyone's mind. Everyone's face was filled with shock and disbelief. Mu Chen's body trembled, his face changed dramatically, and he could no longer maintain his calm. He pointed at Mu Bing and shouted, You're talking nonsense. You're slandering me. Hee, I'm slandering you? You've always been a waste, and only became a genius at the age of 8. Tell me, how do you explain this? Mu Bing took a step forward, pressing Mu Chen to the point that he couldn't breathe smoothly. That's the supreme elixir that my father searched through ancient sites to find and cleanse my marrow. Mu Chen roared. Is that so? Mu Bing smiled coldly. Some things are not yours and will never be yours. All these years, every morning, you've been sleeping in an ice cellar. Have you been tortured endlessly? And it's getting more and more intense? Now, it has reached an unbearable point? Mu Bing said. How do you know? Mu Chen's face changed dramatically. My things are not that easy to take. Thank you for helping me nourish my spiritual root for so many years. After that, Mu Bing stretched out her right hand. Come back, my spiritual root. This sound rose. Buzz! Mu Chen's body trembled violently, and his dantian seemed to be about to collapse, shaking wildly. Mu Chen let out an incomparably miserable scream. Frost formed on his body, and his whole body kept trembling. Poochie, the sound of a sword piercing into flesh rang out. Mu Chen's dantian, a crack appeared, and a palm-sized ice phoenix drilled out. Spiritual root, this is the supreme spiritual root. It turned out to be an ice phoenix. No wonder Mu Chen often screamed. It seems that he was tortured by the spiritual root. The moment the ice phoenix appeared, the sound of explosions rang out continuously. Chirp! the Ice Phoenix cried, flying around Mu Bing and kept circling around. It looked like a mother and son meeting, and there was a kind of kinship that was thicker than water. Then, the Ice Phoenix drilled into Mu Bing's dantian and disappeared. Mu Bing closed her eyes and felt it quietly. She saw that in her dantian, the Ice Phoenix and the Thunder Tribulation nascent soul quickly merged, turning into a Thunder Tribulation Ice Phoenix, exuding monstrous power. Above the Ice Phoenix, the golden light of Buddha and the freezing blue light merged together, echoing each other. In an instant, the fusion was completed. Mu Bing's strength rose rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, she reached the 7th grade Ascendant realm. However, it did not stop, as if it had just begun. 9 steps Ascendant, 10 steps Ascendant. When she reached 10 steps Ascendant, she stopped. This was just her realm. Her physical body, under the tempering of these forces, was also improving rapidly. A full quarter of an hour passed. She opened her eyes. Buzz! 2 cold lights like a cold knife swept the world, making people dare not look directly at it. Between her hands and feet there was ice cold. You dare to take my spiritual root, you will die. Mu Chen roared. Hee. Mu Bing smiled coldly. You take care of yourself now and become a waste again. Those people you offended will not let you go. Boom! A thunderclap blasted Mu Chen's eyes white, and his body trembled. Over the years, he had bullied others. Now, he became a waste again. Those people who offended him would not let him go at all. What should he do? Mu Bing, you forced me to do this. If that's the case, then let's fight to the death. Come, bring her parents up. After this sound, several long rainbows flew over quickly. Immediately afterward, a man and a woman were brought up and tied up. These 2 people were Mu Bing's parents. Chapter 147. What? Mu Chen captured 5th uncle and 5th mother? It's too insidious, so it's true that he took Mu Bing's spiritual root? How can that be false? Otherwise, how could the Ice Phoenix spiritual root let her hear the call and fly back? All the disciples stared at Mu Chen with a surprised face. They didn't expect that the Taoist they respected was so despicable. Haha, Mu Bing, you didn't expect it. Now that your parents are in my hands, behave yourself and don't move. Otherwise, if they die, don't blame me. Let my parents go and hand over the spiritual root. Finally, commit suicide here, and I will let them go. Otherwise, today will be their memorial day. Aren't you very filial? Today, let me see if you are such a person. At this point, Mu Chen looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. Woo! Mu Bing's parents were crying. Obviously, there was a restriction on their bodies, and their voices were blocked. Mu Bing looked at this scene, and her joints exploded. The killing intent on her body soared to the sky. At this moment, with her as the center, within a radius of 10 miles, it was icy cold. The icy chill spread all over her body. The disciples below, at this moment, seemed to be standing in a world of ice and snow. Not to mention Mu Chen and others who were in the center of the frost at this moment. Mu Chen's face changed dramatically, and his voice trembled. In just an instant, he found that his arms were stiff and his whole body was cold. You're courting death. Mu Chen gritted his teeth and roared, slashing the long sword at Mu Bing's parents. Boom! However, his arm broke and fell to the ground, broken into several pieces. I didn't want to kill you. And you, how dare you touch my parents? Take my spiritual root, I can let you go. Collude with the demon race, I can also give you a way to live. Now you even hurt my parents, this hatred is irreconcilable. You guys, you must die today. Mu Bing stepped into the air, and ice flowers appeared under her feet. The calm voice contained a monstrous anger. She pointed her finger forward. Buzz, one by one, the small icy swords quickly formed. Swish, the small ice-cold sword flashed and disappeared. It instantly returned to Mu Bing. Boom! Bang! Several explosions rang out. The bodies of the men who were holding Mu Bing's parents burst open, and they died on the spot. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Mu Chen's blood was quickly solidifying and his consciousness was rapidly dissipating. The pain from his broken arm had completely disappeared. His eyes turned slightly, and his face revealed an expression of extreme fear. Die. A bone-chilling voice rang out. An ice-cold sword flew over at high speed. No, Mu Chen shouted in his heart. Slash! The ice sword pierced through his forehead. His body was directly frozen into an ice sculpture, freezing the fear and unwillingness on his face. Bang! There was an explosion. Mu Chen's body exploded into thousands of pieces. At this moment, Mu Hong woke up just in time to see his son's tragic death. No, Mu Hong let out a hysterical cry. The roar was faint and unending. Mu Bing, you forced me to do this. Ancestor, save me. Mu Hong crushed the communication talisman. So what if the old ancestor comes out? You go to hell. Mu Bing pointed with her right hand, and two small ice swords directly penetrated the eyebrows of the two people. No, an unwilling roar stopped abruptly. Bang! The two people's bodies exploded directly. At this moment there was dead silence all around. Whether it was the elders around Mu Bing, or the disciples below. At this moment they were all staring at this scene in a daze, and they didn't react for a long time. Killed? The patriarch is dead? It's good to die, this kind of scum should have died long ago. With him as the patriarch, how can the Mu family go to glory? That's right, selfish, even depriving others of their spiritual roots. He really deserves to be cut into pieces. A group of disciples began to discuss. More than a dozen elders stood in place, in a dilemma. If they let Mu Bing go, then they don't have to be an elder anymore. If they don't let her go, what's the difference from courting death? Do you want to stop me? Mu Bing's voice was cold. The expressions of the elders were stagnant. Indiscriminately, you are not worthy to be an elder. After speaking, Mu Bing waved her right hand. No, in the forbidden area, a blood-robed man flew uncontrollably and fell into Mu Bing's hands. Let go of this seat, otherwise all of you will die. This seat is the first disciple of the blood demon general, heavenly fiend. Dare to kill this seat, all of you will die. The blood-robed man's figure changed rapidly, turning into 9 heads, constantly roaring and struggling. Such a scene, in the eyes of the disciples, their scalps tingled and cold sweat flowed. What blood demon? Damn it! The patriarch really colluded with the demon race. Digging people's spiritual roots, colluding with the demon race, kidnapping the clansmen, which one is a capital crime? This kind of blood demon dares to threaten us, kill him. Many disciples clenched their fists, their faces full of anger. The elders looked at the struggling and roaring blood demon and lowered their heads in shame. Die! A light shout. Mu Bing clenched her right hand. Boom! The entire blood demon exploded into powder and disappeared. After doing this, Mu Bing looked down. From today onwards, I, Mu Bing, have nothing to do with the Mu family anymore. The voice roared, echoing back and forth in the Mu family. This sound, like a clap of thunder, sounded in everyone's mind. Every disciple, their expressions were stagnant. Sister Mu Bing wants to leave the Mu family? If such a genius leaves, how can my Mu family rise? Intimidate the Xianyuan family that is like the sun in the sky? Sister Mu Bing, don't leave the Mu family, the family needs you. The family needs you. Many people shouted loudly. Regarding this scene, Mu Bing was expressionless. The family needs me? However, I don't need the family. After saying that, Mu Bing took her parents and soared into the sky. Seeing that, she was about to leave the Mu family. At this time, wait! A sound rang out. Immediately afterward, a white-haired old man descended from the sky and stood in front of Mu Bing. His face was full of wrinkles, and his eyes were dull and lifeless. He looked like a zombie. He was the ancestor of the Mu family. "Are you going to stop me?" Mu Bing said. "No." The white-haired old man shook his head slightly. "I already know everything that happened. It is indeed my Mu family who let you down. However, please give the Mu family a chance to compensate. What do you think?" The white-haired old man said. "Compensation?" Mu Bing was so angry that she laughed like crazy. "I have always suspected that my spiritual root was taken away, but I have never complained to the family. I even asked the godly cunning immortal for good fortune, wanting to turn the family into a supreme holy land to compete with the Xianyuan family." As soon as these words came out, boom! An explosion of thunder blasted in everyone's mind. What? Turning the family into a supreme holy land? Or begging the godly cunning immortal? It was said that Xianyuan Shi had also seen the godly cunning immortal, and the Xianyuan family became a supreme holy land. Many people went to inquire about it, and the Xianyuan family was tight-lipped and did not spread it out at all. Mu Bing actually asked for this kind of fortune for the family. Such a character, the family head actually treated like this? How unfair! And when I returned, how did the family treat me? Wrapped me in sugar, poisoned me, and then forced the young master's whereabouts. Finally, broke my soul space, so that I can never be reincarnated. Let me ask the ancestor, what were you doing at that time? You say it. Mu Bing looked at the old man and shouted. The old man's chest stagnated, and he lowered his head in shame. Since you don't say it, I will say it for you. Actually, you have long known that the family head colluded with the devil race, and you have seen everything he did to me. And you, but you did nothing, is no doubt afraid that after the God source is broken, you will not live long. For the sake of a little life, you actually ignore the safety of the family. You are in vain as the ancestor. Now, you actually have the face to come to me and say that you will give me compensation? Do you think you are qualified enough? Mu Bing's voice rolled out and rang in the ears of every disciple. Everyone's mind roared, staring at this scene blankly. That kind of disbelief, that kind of shock, that kind of grievance, written all over everyone's face, as if they had become Mu Bing and suffered great grievances. A moment later, what? The ancestor turned out to be such a selfish villain? Let the family head do all kinds of evil, and you don't even care? Too disappointing, it's really disappointing, not to mention Sister Mu Bing. Even I have to leave the Mu family. This kind of family, I can't stay. I also want to leave the Mu family. The sound of explosions continued to ring out. Many disciples clenched their fists, revealing an expression of righteous indignation. The ancestor of the Mu family lowered his head in shame, secretly sighing. You're right, I'm very selfish, and I don't have the face to stay in the Mu family. I'm the one who should go, not you. They are innocent. They, like you, have a righteous hot blood, and they need you to lead them. I have no face to stay in the Mu family with these old bones, so let me leave the Mu family. After saying this, and us, 3 figures appeared beside the ancestor of the Mu family. Chapter 148. 3 figures appeared beside the Mu family's ancestor. There was a middle-aged man and 2 old men among them. The 2 old men only had sparse hair left on their heads. Their faces were covered in wrinkles, and their skin did not have the slightest luster. It was a deathly gray color. They looked like old men with one foot in the grave, as if a gust of wind could blow them over. The middle-aged man, on the other hand, had a ruddy face and an extraordinary temperament. After the 3 of them appeared, the disciples below could not help but exclaim, "Look, isn't that the founding ancestor of the Mu clan, Mu Ao? What, old ancestor Mu Ao is still alive? I've been kneeling in front of the portrait every day. Today I've finally seen him in person." Everyone's gaze was fixed on Mu Ao, and their faces were filled with shock. Even Mu Bing's expression changed slightly. Mu Ao was a legend in the Mu family. Who would have thought that he would be able to see it now? Mu Ao led the three ancestors and walked directly to Mu Bing. He bowed and began to pay his respects. Mu Bing, we've let you down. We apologize to you. You're not wrong. We're the ones who are wrong. We are the ones who should leave the Mu family. Look, these disciples are righteous and filled with hot blood. Didn't you establish the Evil Suppression Alliance? Take them in and lead them in eradicating the demons together. The founding ancestor of the Mu family bowed in salute. In the history of the Mu family there was simply no such thing. Mu Bing stood there, tears streaming down her face. All his grievances were released at this moment. Child, your parents are useless. You've suffered all these years. Child, the Mu family has let you down, but the blood of the Mu family flows in our veins. You will be the head of the Mu family. Lead them to slay evil and eliminate demons. Mu Bing's parents stood on either side of Mu Bing, gently hugging her. Sister Mu Bing, please become the patriarch and lead us to slay the demons. Big Sister Mu Bing, you're the guiding light of my Mu clan. Without you, the Mu clan will be a pile of loose sand in the end. The group of disciples shouted loudly, tears streaming down their faces. Sister Mu Bing, please be the patriarch. No one knew who took the lead, but the entire Mu family from top to bottom knelt down and shouted in unison. His voice echoed back and forth between the Mu family's heaven and earth. Mu Bing looked at this scene and took a deep breath. With the release of his grievances, his mental state improved significantly. The Evil Suppressing Alliance indeed needed people. If all the disciples of the Mu family joined, the Evil Suppressing Alliance's strength would increase many times over. It would undoubtedly be of great help to the young master's plans. The influence of the Evil Suppressing Alliance would also soar. Since the culprit had been killed, the grievances had dissipated. In order to work for the young master, it was not impossible for him to become the Mu family head. Since that's the case, I'll temporarily take over the position of the Mu family head. However, there are a few conditions, Mu Bing said. Speak. Mu Ao looked at Mu Bing and said, First, everyone must obey my orders unconditionally. No problem. Secondly, I will lead the entire Mu family to join the Evil Suppression Alliance. We will take it upon ourselves to fight against the demons. No one is allowed to withdraw. No problem. Thirdly, patriarchs, you have to promise me something in private. Speak. Several divine sense transmissions rang out. The godly cunning immortal ordered me to save the West Prefecture Immortal City. The four of you, come with me, are you willing? Mu Bing said. No problem. Don't you all ask what we are dealing with. Since it is the order of the godly cunning immortal, we will not hesitate to sacrifice our lives. I will also tell you the truth. This time we are going to deal with the dragon race. As soon as these words came out, boom! A few thunderclaps sounded in the heads of several patriarchs. On everyone's face there was a trace of fear. The ancient dragon race was going to slaughter the city again? If they made a move, I'm afraid that the entire human race would be plunged into misery and suffering. What should they do? What? Scared? Mu Bing showed a sneer. Child, do you know what the ancient race is? Do you know what the king of the ancient race is? Mu Ao asked. Ancient race? Isn't it a race left over from ancient times? Mu Bing asked. That's right. Every ancient race has an ancient secret method. Even if they are now in decline, they are still not what the human race can contend with. And this dragon race is the king of the ancient race. How is offending them different from courting death? Mu Ao said. Hee, so you're afraid? Mu Bing said. Mu Ao's chest stagnated, and he lowered his head in shame. Facing the dragon race, he really had no heart to fight. It turns out that Patriarch Mu Ao is also a coward. If that's the case, goodbye. After saying that, Mu Bing took her parents and soared into the sky. Wait. Mu Ao blocked in front of Mu Bing. What? Do you want to attack me? There was no fear on Mu Bing's face. No. Mu Ao shook his head and sighed secretly. Taking a few deep breaths, he said, "The human race has indeed been silent for too long. In that case, let's fight a vigorous battle. Even if we die, we will accept it," Mu Ao said. "Old Ancestor, you agree?" In Mu Bing's eyes, a glimmer of light flashed away. This time, it would be much easier to fight against the dragon race. "When do we leave?" Mu Ao asked. "Of course, the sooner the better, but before we go, let's transform the family first." After saying that, Mu Bing took out a pair of couplets and looked in the direction of the Xianyuan family. "Xianyuan, sure, my Mu family will never be under your Xianyuan family." The couplets were spread out. Auspicious dragon soaring purple pavilion, happy phoenix around Zhu Xian. Dragons and phoenixes danced, full of artistic conception. Terrifying Tao rhymes rushing out. Immediately afterward, howl, a dragon's roar caused the central region's sacred ground to tremble. The auspicious dragon soared into the air and turned into a golden dragon shining with golden light. On the golden dragon's body, 7-colored brilliance radiated, very auspicious. Howl, the golden dragon roared toward the sky. The 7-colored auspicious light flourished, seeming endless and boundless. Immediately afterward, the golden dragon soared into the sky, its body rapidly enlarged, standing proudly in the sky. The 7-colored auspicious light rushed down from its body, submerging into every corner of the entire Mu family. At this moment, whether it was the old ancestor, the disciples, or the servants, they were all dumbfounded at the moment. On everyone's face, there was a smile on their faces, extremely comfortable. The flowers and trees at this moment all changed quietly. When the 7-colored auspicious light dissipated, the golden dragon rushed into the Mu family's ancestral temple and disappeared. The crowd had not yet recovered from the shock. Immediately afterward, howl, there was a phoenix cry. The golden phoenix flew up. Wisps of 9-colored light kept circling around the golden phoenix. In the end, it also used the same method to sprinkle the 9-colored light into every corner of the Mu family. At this moment, everyone stood in place again, motionless. Their souls were growing rapidly. A moment later, the golden phoenix also drilled into the ancestral temple and disappeared. The entire Mu family was deathly silent. Everyone's stunned appearance was indescribable in words. The most excited were none other than the 4 old ancestors. Although their strength had not increased, their talent had improved, and there was also hope for them to break through to the immortal realm. And what shocked them most was that their physical bodies had been strengthened hundreds of times, and their physical functions had been completely restored. There was no problem living for another 10,000 years. The wrinkles on their faces had disappeared cleanly. They looked ruddy and full of vitality. Mu Ao was even 10 years younger, looking like a 30-year-old youth, at the peak of his life. The godly cunning immortal actually has such means, too terrifying. With the support of a mighty figure like the godly cunning immortal, what's there to be afraid of? Yes, such a strong person is completely a supreme existence. To be able to do something for the godly cunning immortal, that's a blessing that can only be cultivated for several lifetimes. Several old ancestors clenched their fists, extremely excited. It took a long time for them to calm down. They gathered around Mu Bing with a grateful face. "Patriarch, thank you very much. If you have any instructions in the future, just say it," Mu Ao said. Hearing this, the corners of Mu Bing's mouth raised slightly. With these 4 old ancestors by her side, against the dragon race, it was a sure thing. It was impossible to slaughter a West Prefecture immortal city, and the Lord of the Dragon race would come in person, right? As long as there was no immortal dragon, the 4 old ancestors were enough to deal with it. In addition, her own strength was not weak. Thinking like this, Mu Bing secretly nodded. Then, her eyes swept around, looking at the crowd of children below. Listen up, the Mu family has become a supreme holy land. You need to cultivate, you must not slack off. Mu Bing's voice rumbled and clearly reached the ears of every child. Yes, Patriarch. All the children knelt down and saluted respectfully. Father, Mother, you stay in the family to cultivate, at the same time, help me supervise them. If anyone dares to slack off, they will be severely punished. Mu Bing said. Okay. Old Ancestor, let's go. Yes, Patriarch. Mu Bing took the 4 old ancestors and flew quickly to the West Prefecture Immortal City. Chapter 149. In the front courtyard of Sun Hao's residence. Still kneeling outside? Sun Hao asked. Yes, young master. He hasn't moved in the past few days. Huang Rumeng said. How could he be so stubborn? He really had the determination to not give up until he achieved his goal. It was indeed rare to see someone with such perseverance. However, he wanted to acknowledge him as his master. There didn't seem to be anything to teach. He didn't know how to cultivate. Come with me. Yes, young master. The 2 of them arrived outside the courtyard. He saw Mo Haosher crawling on the ground, motionless. He looked like a wooden sculpture. From time to time, he would mutter, Young master, I was wrong. Please accept me as your disciple. He looked as if he had aged several decades. Sun Hao looked at Mo Haosher and said, Accept you as a disciple? What do you want to learn? As soon as these words came out, Mo Haosher's body trembled. Slowly looking up, when he saw Sun Hao, his eyes bloomed with a strange light. Young master, I want to learn carving from you. Mo Haosher's eyes lit up, and he kept kowtowing. It's not impossible to learn carving, but… Sun Hao hesitated. Young master, if you have any instructions, please don't hesitate to ask. Mo Haosher said. First, I won't take you as my disciple. However, you can come and observe while I'm sculpting. Secondly, I will not provide accommodation. You will have to find your own place to stay. Thirdly, you can only come here once a day, and you can stay for a maximum of 4 hours. If I don't carve on that day, please go back immediately. Sun Hao said. Young master, there's no problem, absolutely no problem. Mo Haosher nodded heavily. Okay, get up. Sun Hao said. Many thanks, young master. Mo Haosher stood up and stood respectfully at the side. Follow me. Yes. Mo Haosher followed behind him and arrived at the pavilion. You haven't eaten, right? Do you want to eat some? Sun Hao asked. Young master, how can I accept this? Mo Haosher looked at the 2 dishes, his eyes filled with eagerness. Over the past few days, he had smelled the fragrance every day, and his mouth was already watering. His stomach growled countless times. It's fine. Let's eat. Many thanks, young master. Mo Haosher cupped his fists and saluted. He walked to the table and began to eat. Sun Hao looked at Mo Haosher and nodded secretly. These 2 dishes were left for him on purpose. These few days, he had deliberately left him hanging for a few days to grind his temper. This old fellow was already so old, but he was still so thick-skinned. He had to change. Looking at his current appearance, the change was extremely obvious. Such a good blessing point leak. If he didn't harvest a few, how could he be worthy of himself? Young master, this dish is too delicious. Did Madam do it? Mo Haosher asked. Madam? When had he ever had a wife? Sun Hao glanced at Huang Rumeng, only to see her bowing her head shyly. There was actually no explanation. From the looks of it, she had tacitly agreed? Is there such a good thing? Since Huang Rumeng did not explain, why should he explain? Not bad. Sun Hao nodded slightly. Madam's culinary skills are unparalleled in the past and unmatched in the future. Every dish is like a work of art that makes people reluctant to put down their chopsticks. When I eat it, my mouth is filled with fragrance and the aftertaste is endless. It's truly the best in the world. Mo Hao continued to eat while praising. When Huang Rumming heard this, her face was slightly red. Where, I am far worse than the young master. What? Mo Hao sure was shocked, looking at Sun Hao, his face full of worship. Young master, are you also a cooking master? Overpraised, Ruming's current cooking skills are comparable to mine. Sun Hao said. It turns out that a famous teacher produces a great disciple. Mo Hao sure nodded and kept praising. After dinner, Mo Hao sure looked at Sun Hao and said, Young master, are you going to carve today? Looking at Mo Hao sure's eager look, Sun Hao smiled slightly. Okay, come with me. Yes, young master. The two came to the carving room. Sun Hao sat down, holding the wood in his left hand and the carving knife in his right hand. Carving, what needs to be noted is, Sun Hao explained while starting to carve. Every array pattern was completed in one stroke, perfect to the point that there were no flaws. Mo Hao sure's eyes widened, staring straight at it. The more he looked, the more beads of sweat on his forehead. The young master's technique seemed ordinary, but in fact it had supreme Tao charm. It was like watching the young master evolve the great Tao, which was terrifying to the extreme. The longer he stared, the more dizzy his head became. His talent was dull, and it was difficult to see the trajectory at all. Young master, where is this a peerless immortal? The young master must be an immortal king. Mo Hao sure opened his mouth wide, his face full of shock. On his body, sweat was pouring down like rain, and his clothes were soaked thoroughly. An indescribable dizziness came. Mo Hao sure withdrew his gaze more and more tightly, not daring to look at it again. He secretly wiped a few cold sweat and his face was pale. My perception is really too low. Sure enough, I don't deserve to be the young master's disciple. Mo Hao sure shook his head secretly, his face full of bitterness. Soon after, it's done. Sun Hao put down the carving knife and took the boat core in his hand to look at it. Subsequently, he took out the immortal crystals. In the incomparably painful gaze, he took out 200 immortal crystals and released them on the boat core. There was a vibration. On the boat core, blue light flowed, extremely dazzling. The young master's boat core is at least thousands of times stronger than the one I saw before. It actually only takes 200 immortal crystals to activate it. Mo Hao sure looked straight at it, his eyes full of admiration. There are only so many immortal crystals left, and I can only engrave one boat core. Sun Hao looked at the remaining 300 immortal crystals and sighed secretly. As soon as these words came out, Mo Hao sure's body trembled. Without any hesitation, Mo Hao sure took out a bag of immortal crystals from his soul space. There were more than 500 in total, which was his savings for hundreds of years, almost all of his net worth. Young master, I have immortal crystals here, please don't think it's too little, accept it. Mo Hao sure presented the immortal crystals in front of Sun Hao with a respectful look. For me? Sun Hao was slightly startled, took the immortal crystals in his hand and looked at them, and his eyes couldn't help but shine. This was enough to buy 5 Jiangyang cities. He actually said he wanted to give it to him? This Mo Hao sure was really rich. 500 immortal crystals in one shot. Should I accept it? How can I accept this? Sun Hao said. Young master, as long as you don't dislike it. Mo Hao sure said. That's fine, I'll accept it. Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Mo Hao sure's face was full of gratitude. Hearing this, Sun Hao was startled. Shouldn't this be said by himself? However, this guy seemed to want to worship him as a master. It was not surprising to send some immortal crystals. You're welcome. After speaking, Sun Hao handed the boat core to Mo Hao sure. You take this. Young master, this is? Mo Hao sure's eyes widened, full of disbelief. It's for you. As soon as these words came out, Mo Hao sure's chest was like being hit hard, and he was stunned in place. That kind of disbelief couldn't be described in words. This boat core was an immortal boat core. Its value was inestimable. If it was used for auction, a conservative estimate could be auctioned for tens of thousands of immortal crystals. Young Master actually said to give it to me? It felt like a dream. Master, I can't accept this. Mo Hausher said. What? You don't like it? No, young Master. This is too expensive, you spent so many immortal crystals. Mo Hausher said. It's okay, take it. You follow this carving, when you can reach this level, you will be my disciple. Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out. Boom. Like a thunder falling on his head, Mo Hausher was stunned in place. Happiness came too suddenly. Young Master actually agreed to accept me as a disciple? Thank you, young Master. Young Master, don't worry, one day I will definitely complete it. Mo Hausher nodded with a firm face. The corner of Sun Hao's mouth raised a hint of a smile. This blessing point, the harvest was a lot. He still had to harvest a little more. Let's call it a day, it's tea time, let's go. Sun Hao said. Yes, young Master. Came to the pavilion. Sun Hao took out the Dahongpo and put it in the teapot. Immediately, Mo Hausher's scalp exploded, and his face showed incredible surprise. Enlightenment tea? Such a handful of enlightenment tea? Mo Hausher's voice trembled. The whole person stood in place. He knew very well how precious enlightenment tea was. Young Master grabbed a lot of it? Old Mo, drink it, don't get cold. Sun Hao's voice woke Mo Hausher up. Yes, yes, young Master. Mo Hausher picked up the cup, trembling slightly. He opened his mouth and drank it in one gulp. A cold breath went straight into his mind from his meridians. His soul, as if immersed in a hot spring, was exceptionally comfortable. At this moment, his soul was growing rapidly. After a long time, he opened his eyes and looked at Sun Hao gratefully. Another cup. Sun Hao immediately filled Mo Hausher's cup. Thank you, young Master. Mo Hausher was like a person who had been thirsty for a long time, drinking 5 cups before stopping. Another cup? Young Master, I'm full. Mo Hausher waved his hand again and again, touching his tummy, showing a look of satisfaction. His talent was too weak, and he couldn't digest it completely for a while. Now, he could only digest 1 cup of enlightenment tea, and the other 4 cups would take some time to digest. At that time, his talent would increase by 100 times, 1,000 times. Becoming the young Master's disciple was a matter of time. Young Master, I will go back to practice today. Mo Hausher got up and saluted with his fists. Chapter 150. Over the West Prefecture Immortal City. 5 long rainbows came in a hurry. The person in the lead was Mu Bing. Behind her, followed by the 4 ancestors of the Mu family. After landing, a man immediately stepped forward and saluted with his fist. Excuse me, are you Miss Mu Bing? Mu Bing looked puzzled, looking at the man in front of her. She didn't know him. She had never been to the West Prefecture Immortal City. Why did he recognize her? You are? Mu Bing asked. Miss Mu Bing, I am a waiter from the Stargazing Tower. It was shopkeeper Wang who asked me to wait for you here. Leader Luo and the others have arrived, please follow me. The man said. Hearing this, Mu Bing nodded secretly. Okay. Under the leadership of the man, Mu Bing and the others came to an underground secret room. In the secret room, Luo Luyan, Su Yiling, Chen Daoming, and Wen Rensher were already standing inside. Seeing Mu Bing's arrival, several people came forward. You're finally here. Sorry, the family was delayed by something, Mu Bing said. These are? Looking at the 4 middle-aged men behind Mu Bing, Luo Luyan frowned slightly. Leader Luo, these are the 4 ancestors of my family, Mu Bing said. What? Several people were shocked. They heard that there were only 4 ancestors of the Mu family who sealed their own divine source, and the others were all dead. It's not that the others don't want to seal themselves in the divine source, but it's extremely difficult to find a piece of divine source. Even for a big family like the Mu family, it was extremely difficult to have 4 pieces of divine source. Could it be that the Mu family's founding ancestor Mueo was also among them? Greetings, 4 seniors. Several people came forward and clasped their fists in salute. You're welcome, we have heard about your affairs, you are really a model for the human race. It's our blessing to be able to do something for the young master. That's right, it's such a great honor to be a chess piece in the hands of the young master. The 4 ancestors of the Mu family said. Thank you, seniors. With all the seniors here, this battle will be won without a doubt. Luo Luyan said. As long as I don't encounter an immortal dragon, I still have the power to fight. However, if an immortal dragon comes, what should I do? Mu Ao's face showed a trace of fear. Seniors, don't worry about this, the young master has calculated everything, I think he already has a way to deal with it. What we need to do is to do our best to protect the West Prefecture Immortal City. Luo Luyan said. And the Mu family's 4 ancestors nodded slightly, a trace of shame on their faces. The young master was able to transform the supreme sacred land and recover his vitality. This method was extremely heaven-defying. He actually doubted the young master here, it was simply disrespectful. He absolutely could not have such thoughts in the future. Thinking so, Mu Ao secretly nodded, his expression becoming more and more determined. The Dragon Clan massacred the city to establish their might. They will definitely not let anyone off. Therefore, I have the following countermeasures. Everyone began to discuss. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. In the past 5 days, everything in the West Prefecture Immortal City was as usual, and there was nothing unusual. Outside the West Prefecture Immortal City, in a cave, 4 silver-armored men sat together. They were transformed from dragons, and the one leading them was none other than the dragon race's general, Qi Rong. Second brother, just bring people and slaughter them. Why go through so much trouble? A rough-looking man said. Fifth brother, calm down. Qi Rong patted the rough man's shoulder, his expression solemn. Everyone is a brother, since I am leading the team this time, then everyone's lives are in my hands. I can't sacrifice everyone for personal vengeance. Qi Rong said. A little human race, what's there to fear? Could it be that in this little West Prefecture Immortal City, an immortal can jump out? The rough man's face was full of disdain. Fifth brother, wait a little longer, if there is no abnormality today, I will immediately send someone to take action, how about it? Qi Rong said. Then, okay then. Time flew by, and in a blink of an eye, it was night. Report. At this time, a loud shout awakened several people from their cultivation. Come in. A messenger soldier hurriedly arrived and knelt in front of several people. Reporting to General Qi, the West Prefecture Immortal City, everything is normal today, the number of cultivators and mortals, not much increase or decrease. The messenger said. Got it, go down. Yes. When the messenger left, the rough man stood up directly. Second brother, what are you waiting for? Give the order. Don't worry, let's first study which set of methods to use. Qi Rong said. Second brother, study fart, a little human race, any set of methods is the same. The rough man said. Since you are so powerful, then let you lead the team, okay? Qi Rong's face showed a trace of displeasure. When the rough man saw this scene, he scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. Second brother, this? I can't do this, I let me kill people, I will never frown. Since you are not good at it, then let second brother finish speaking. That's right, fifth brother, don't say that fourth brother doesn't help you, you really have to change your temper. Second brother, ignore him, let's continue talking. Okay. Qi Rong took out the map, pointed to it, and said. The West Prefecture Immortal City, as the center of the western regions, naturally has its heritage. The 3 strongest forces are the Stargazing Tower, the Qin family and the Fan family. Not long ago, I heard that the Qin family had a genius Qin Yu, who became a supreme spirit alchemist from waste in just one day. Qi Rong said. What? Several people's faces were full of surprise. Second brother became a supreme spirit alchemist in one day? How is this possible? It's true. However, he has already left the family, no one knows where he went. Qi Rong said. Second brother, an alchemist, even if he is in the West Prefecture Immortal City, so what? That's right, second brother, you are too careful. How can an alchemist make any waves? Qi Rong shook his head slightly. I am not worried about him, but the person who turned him into a supreme spirit alchemist. Is there really such a person in this world? That's right. So, that's why I am careful, Qi Rong said. When several people heard this, they all nodded. After these few days of observation, presumably that kind of person is not in the West Prefecture Immortal City, we can safely make a move. Now, what we need to deal with is mainly the stargazing tower. Does anyone have any opinions? Qi Rong looked at several people and said. Second brother, I heard that the stargazing tower has a deep heritage, but anyone who has attacked the stargazing tower is now dead. If we rashly make a move, I'm afraid. Third brother, what are you afraid of? My dignified dragon race. Do you still need to be afraid of his stargazing tower? Hearing this, Qi Rong nodded slightly. In that case, let's use the first set of plans. First use the flame cage to surround the city, and then send troops into the city to suppress. No one can be spared. The power of my dragon race, how can it be violated by ants? On Qi Rong's face, a fierce light flashed away. Second brother, the people have been slaughtered by his subordinates. What about us? The rough man said. We? Naturally, when an expert appears, we will suppress them, Qi Rong said. That's not too satisfying, right? The rough man sat directly on the ground, looking dispirited. Fifth brother, listen to second brother. That's right, if we have to slaughter a city, wouldn't it be too degrading? Third brother, fourth brother, I can't help but itch. The rough man sighed secretly. In that case, then you pretend to be a soldier, go kill some people, don't expose yourself, Qi Rong said. Yes, second brother. Chapter 151. So comfortable. Sun Hao stretched and opened his eyes. But he saw Huang Rumeng looking at him with a smile. Young master, get up, the sun is shining. Rumeng, with you by my side, I find myself getting lazier and lazier. Sun Hao said. Young master, you really know how to talk. Huang Rumeng smiled. Get up and wash first. Okay. Sun Hao got up quickly. After washing up and eating, the two came to the pavilion. It's been 6 days, why hasn't anyone come? Sun Hao frowned slightly, showing a thoughtful look. Even Mo Hausher hadn't appeared again these days, and he didn't know where he went. Why didn't Miss Yiling come? Is it because she often eats vegetarian food here and is tired of it? It must be so. In that case, I should prepare some meat. Anyway, I have nothing to do now, then I will take Rumeng to the Ghost Dragon Pool to fish. Thinking like this, Sun Hao's eyes bloomed with a strange light. Finally, he could find something interesting to do. Rumeng, let's go fishing today, how about it? Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng nodded. Rumeng, I don't think you can say no. Sun Hao said. Young master, don't joke. Rumeng is willing to do anything with you, I am very happy. Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. With such a wife accompanying him, what else could he ask for? That's fine, let's go. Sun Hao said. Okay. After Huang Rumeng finished speaking, she directly summoned Purple Lightning. The two walked into the flying boat and came to the control room. Young master, where are we going? Huang Rumeng asked. Ghost Dragon Pool. Sun Hao said. Okay. Huang Rumeng nodded and drove the flying boat. Buzz, the flying boat shook up layers of ripples and turned into a stream of light in the sky. above the West Prefecture Immortal City. The escape light was like rain, and the flying boat was like a shuttle. In the city, pedestrians flowed endlessly. There were shouts, discussions, and bragging sounds. The sound was intertwined, like a pot of boiling porridge, noisy and incessant. The whole thing looked normal. Early in the morning. Suddenly there was a vibration. A layer of transparent air wave, in the blink of an eye, enveloped the entire West Prefecture Immortal City. A layer of flame rapidly ignited along with the transparent air wave, as if it was hot oil that had been ignited. From afar, it looked like a huge fireball rising from the ground. The flame cage was formed in an instant, covering the West Prefecture Immortal City. Everyone in the West Prefecture Immortal City stared blankly at this scene, their expressions changing. What is going on? What's going on? What are they doing? His voice was trembling. This is the Dragon Clan's Dragon Flame Cage. Among the immortal cultivators, there was no lack of knowledgeable people who immediately shouted out. His voice was like a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples. What? The Dragon Clan is here? Are you trying to kill us all? It's over, it's over. The Dragon Tribe is vicious and merciless. They won't let anyone off this time. Looks like the dragon race is here to massacre the city. What should we do? Damn the Dragon Clan! Since ancient times, they have always thought that they would feed on our fellow humans. They are heartless. Now they have come to massacre the city. Damn it, damn it! I hate it, I hate it. I hate myself for not being strong enough. Otherwise, we will definitely destroy them. The explosion continued and could not be stopped at all. Soon, the west city of the Immortal Mansion was in chaos. I don't want to die, I want to get out of here. Many cultivators soared into the sky, sacrificing all kinds of magic weapons and bombarding the dragon flame cage. However, these magic weapons, before they got close to those flames, melted into molten iron and dripped down. No, seeing their magic weapons melting, these cultivators' faces showed great shock. They hurriedly used their body techniques to escape. Just where was it in time? A drop of molten iron directly penetrated a cultivator and ignited his entire body. Ah! The scream just sounded, and then it stopped abruptly. A few seconds later, these cultivators' bodies burned into flying ash and disappeared. The falling molten iron, with the power to burn everything, fell like raindrop. On the ground, a huge hole was burned. When a group of cultivators saw this scene, their scalps exploded and they fled in all directions. They looked at the molten iron falling from the sky and kept dodging. However, there were always some lucky people who came into close contact with the molten iron. Screams continued to ring out. The cultivator's body, as brittle as thin paper, kept falling down. In the blink of an eye, nearly 1,000 cultivators died. However, this number, for the immortal city of 2 million people, was simply negligible. The first bird was dead, and the others did not dare to move at all, and could only seek other ways. Hiding in the attic, hiding in the secret room, however, under the siege of the dragon flame cage. The surrounding temperature was rising higher and higher. It's so hot, I can't stand it, give me water. Uncomfortable, so uncomfortable, I'm going to become a roasted chicken. Who will save us? Ordinary mortals, at this moment, were already extremely unbearable. Even if they hid in the attic, it was the same. The entire immortal city was like a giant oven. The wood of the house seemed to have been unable to withstand the high temperature, billowing black smoke. In the blink of an eye, the entire West Prefecture Immortal City was shrouded in billowing black smoke. Cough, cough. The sound of coughing continued to ring out. As the temperature rose, the raging fire wrapped the entire city. The whole thing looked like a fiery hell, terrifying and boundless. The screams continued to ring out. Even the immortal cultivators, not all of them could withstand this temperature. Help, help! Supreme Heavenly God, please save us. What's the use of the Heavenly God? It's better to ask the godly cunning immortal. Yes, just ask the godly cunning immortal. After this sound, Supreme godly cunning immortal, you are merciful and compassionate, please save us. Godly cunning immortal, I am your most devout believer, please show your spirit. My most beloved godly cunning immortal, you can calculate everything, and you must know that we are suffering from this great disaster. If you can, please save us. Such a voice kept ringing out. More and more people were kneeling. Whether it was mortals or cultivators, they were all shouting the name of the godly cunning immortal. At a glance, it was densely packed with people. The pious appearance, words could not describe. Fan family. Patriarch Fan Luo stood looking at the sky, cold sweat flowing down his face. Boom! A flame fell from the sky and landed on the family's great array, making a loud noise. The entire family was buzzing and trembling. All the children of the family collapsed to the ground, their livers and galls torn apart. Is this the heavens want to destroy my Fan family? Fan Luo muttered, his face full of bitterness. Just as all the children were summoned back, such a major event happened. When the dragon race attacked, there must be no bones left. No, Fan Luo let out an unwilling roar. There must be hope. By the way, can't the godly cunning immortal calculate everything? He will definitely send someone to save us. Thinking like this, Fan Luo roared, everyone listen well, pray with me to the godly cunning immortal. This sound, shaking people's ears, immediately woke them up. One by one, they knelt down and began to pray. Such scenes were played out everywhere in the West Prefecture Immortal City. When everyone was in despair. Buzz, a sound shook up. An icy chill, centered on the stargazing tower, shook out all around. This icy chill directly extinguished the flame and dispelled the heat wave. The entire West Prefecture Immortal City quickly cooled down. In the chill, there was also a wisp of vitality, repairing the scars on everyone's body. A group of cultivators stood in place blankly, their faces full of disbelief. Looking up, they could not help but shrink their pupils. That kind of shock, that kind of piety, that kind of touching, written all over everyone's face. Chapter 152. Over the West Prefecture Immortal City. Chirp! A phoenix cry shook in all directions. A blue ice phoenix covered the sky. The icy cold air, like silk threads sprinkled down, surged throughout the West Prefecture Immortal City. Finally, it flowed through the bodies of the cultivators, dispelling the heat and healing the injuries. At this moment, there was an incomparably comfortable feeling surging through everyone's body. All the cultivators trembled with excitement, revealing the joy of surviving a disaster. Looking up, but see, below the ice phoenix, a woman in blue stood there, waving her hands. The immortal power, like silk, poured into the ice phoenix from her body. From a distance, she looked like a fairy descending from the sky, so beautiful that it was suffocating. She was Mu Bing. Everyone stared blankly at Mu Bing, and for a moment, they were stunned in place. A moment later, plop, plop, the sound of kneeling kept ringing. They put their hands together and looked respectful. The godly cunning immortal has shown himself, he sent the fairy to save us. Godly cunning immortal, you are really merciful. The sound of being moved kept ringing. Suddenly, buzz, the ground around the West Prefecture Immortal City kept shaking. The ground cracked open, and a corridor leading to the underground appeared in front of everyone. What is this? Where the hell does this lead? A group of cultivators stood up, surrounded the entrance to the underground, and began to watch. Everyone, listen up, hurry into the underground, the dragon race is about to attack. Mu Bing's voice, like thunder, reached everyone's ears. The fairy has spoken, quickly go in. I didn't expect the fairy to be so thoughtful, even the tunnel has been dug. A group of cultivators, like a torrent, poured into the various underground passages. The passage led deep underground. At a depth of a kilometer, it converged into an incomparably huge passage, leading to the outside of the West Prefecture Immortal City. Soon after, West Prefecture Immortal City, except for Mu Bing and the others, all the other cultivators had left. Outside the dragon flame cage, Howl, a fire dragon surrounded in all directions, from time to time spitting out flames like a fire snake, whizzing toward the dragon flame cage. The terrifying high temperature burned the air, twisting and deforming. Outside the dragon flame cage, in the western sky, stood nearly 100 silver-armored guards. Each of them exuded the aura of the half-immortal realm. A dignified and austere aura rippled out. They looked like an army that had been through hundreds of battles. These silver-armored guards were all transformed from dragons. Among the silver-armored guards, there was a rugged man looking at the West Prefecture Immortal City, the corners of his mouth raised into a sneer. "Scream, scream! How can we, the dignified dragon clan, be bullied by ants like you? Only slaughtering 1,000,000 of you is already the greatest mercy of my race. I really hope that fewer of you die. Otherwise, I won't be satisfied this time," the rugged man murmured as his eyes flickered. Report. Suddenly, a streak of light flew over. "Speak," said the commander of the silver-armored guards. "Commander, there are no more screams coming from the West Prefecture Immortal City," the messenger soldier said. As soon as these words came out, the surroundings shook. Many silver-armored guards whispered to each other. "It can't be. There are no screams? Could it be that they were all burned to death? Isn't that human cultivator too weak? There's no need for us to do anything." "Yes." The commander of the silver-armored guards frowned slightly and looked puzzled. It stood to reason that the human race should be able to hold on for a while. Could it be that the human race was weak and no longer as brave as they were in the past? Indeed, the 9 immortals of the human race of the Purple Sun Star have not appeared for tens of thousands of years. They must have fallen long ago. In these tens of thousands of years, an immortal had not been born. It seemed that they had indeed declined. "Hey, 4 generals, there is no need to send out an army to slaughter the city. I alone am enough to slaughter them all." The commander of the silver-armored guards shook his head secretly. "All officers and soldiers, listen to my order. Target West Prefecture Immortal City. Attack from the West Gate, don't let one go. Charge with me. Kill." Under the leadership of the commander, hundreds of silver-armored guards rushed towards the West Prefecture Immortal City. In the crowd, the rugged man took the lead and rushed to the forefront. His eyes bloomed with excitement, and from time to time he let out a burst of wild roars. Buzz, soon, he and nearly 100 silver-armored guards rushed into the dragon flame cage. These flames, for them, did not hurt them at all. Entering the dragon flame cage, the rugged man was instantly dumbfounded. Like him, there was also a group of silver-armored guards. "Why is it so cool in here? There is an aura of the Ice Phoenix. Damn it, could it be that the Ice Phoenix is against us? Saved everyone? How is it possible? The Ice Phoenix race has long been extinct, and they can only rely on the human race in the form of spiritual roots to survive. Look!" At this time, a silver-armored guard pointed to the ground. "Not good, they have all fled to the ground. Let's quickly report this to the general." "Report my ass, such a trivial matter. Do we still need to find the general? Just chase after them directly. All listen up, with the fastest speed, chase after that group of ants," the commander shouted. Yes. Hundreds of silver-armored guards flew down. They had just landed. At this time, hee, a laugh rang out. Looking at the sound, the group of silver-armored guards couldn't help but shrink their pupils. The expressions on their faces were all different. Some were excited, some were shocked, and some were in disbelief. They saw that in front of them, a man was walking step by step. He carried a big knife on his shoulder, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and from time to time stroked his silver hair, full of arrogance. He was Chen Daoming. There is still one who hasn't run. It seems that he is here to cut off the rear. Commander, leave this to me, you go after those ants. Okay. The division of labor was completed. A silver-armored guard came forward, and the others rushed to the ground. However, they had just stepped forward. But they saw Chen Daoming pick up the long knife and slowly pull it out. There was a shock and the world trembled. At this moment, a group of silver-armored guards seemed to be stripped of light and fell into darkness. An arc-shaped knife light lit up in the darkness. It made people unable to open their eyes. Whoosh! The knife light seemed far away, but in an instant it attacked a group of silver-armored guards. Boom! The sound of explosions kept ringing. Boom! Boom! The surrounding houses couldn't withstand this pressure at all. It burst open at the first time. The shock wave, layer upon layer, whistled in all directions. The ground was pulled up one after another, and the gravel soared into the sky. The silver-armored guards' bodies, along with the shock wave, crashed into all directions. Puff! After struggling to get up, blood flew wildly. Damn, kill for me! The commander waved his right hand, and hundreds of silver-armored guards quickly surrounded Chen Daoming. On every face, there was a look of incomparable fear. He just pulled out a knife, and he actually hurt his own subordinate. How was this possible? Such a strong man, no matter what, must be killed in the cradle, and he must not be allowed to rise. Otherwise, the human race would give birth to another terrible immortal. How could a little ant let them stand at the same height as himself? They looked at Chen Daoming with murderous intent. Chapter 153. Chen Daoming did not move. He looked at these silver-armored guards with a trace of fear on his face. If he was facing a human race third-step half-immortal when he pulled out the saber just now, he would have been smashed to pieces. On the other hand, they did not even use their shields, yet they were only slightly injured. The physical body of the Dragon Clan was indeed not for show. What made Chen Daoming most afraid was the rough man not far away. Just now, when he pulled out the saber, he actually stood in the same place, not moving at all. There was no need to think, this guy was definitely a dragon race powerhouse. He had to be careful. Chen Daoming secretly thought and made a decision. Kill! He gave the order. Except for the rugged man, all the silver-armored guards moved together. Buzz! The silver spears in the hands of each silver-armored guard shook and rippled. The sound of something tearing through the air kept ringing. The spears in their hands moved in an orderly manner. In the blink of an eye, a binding array was formed, trapping Chen Daoming inside. You want to trap me? Chen Daoming raised the corner of his mouth and waved the long knife. This slash was extremely ordinary, and there was nothing fancy about it. From the looks of it, it didn't have much power. However, Kacha, the binding formation, instantly collapsed. A layer of ripples appeared on the long saber. Bang! The voice was very soft, but it rang in the ears of the silver-armored guards, causing them to bleed from their orifices. One by one, they all fell to the ground, screaming in pain. This attack had injured them quite badly. Don't just stand there, use your true forms. This sound rose. Howl! The roars kept ringing. Every silver-armored guard's body expanded rapidly. Silver dragons that were 100 meters long surged in all directions. The layers of scales emitted a dazzling radiance under the illumination of the dragon flame cage. Howl! A silver dragon, not waiting for Chen Daoming to react, aimed at him and spat out a dragon breath. Like a gust of wind, Chen Daoming's center of gravity was unstable, and his body stepped back. He had to use quite a bit of strength to stabilize himself. He looked at the 100 silver dragons with a hint of fear. How is this possible? The silver dragons widened their eyes in disbelief. Even a fifth-step half-immortal would have been annihilated by that attack. Unexpectedly, he was only pushed back and was not injured at all. Since when was the power of the dragon breath so weak? Let's attack together. The silver dragon commander bellowed. All the silver dragons moved at the same time. They sucked hard. Phew, silver-white light shone from the dragon's abdomen and surged into its mouth. Nearly 100 dragon breaths aimed at Chen Daoming and spat out. Chen Daoming's face changed slightly. Without any hesitation, Zhang Xian swung his saber. A knife light cut through the space and enveloped Chen Daoming. Boom! The dragon breath landed and exploded with a deafening sound. The entire ground was lifted up layer by layer, and 1,000 meters of smoke and dust were blown up. It was as if an atomic bomb had exploded, destroying heaven and earth. After a while, the surroundings gradually quietened down. Bai Long stared at Chen Daoming, motionless. When the dust disappeared, Chen Daoming's face was covered with dirt, and his body was covered with many bloodstains. What? He's not dead? What kind of monster is he? He's only lightly injured? He didn't even use his shield. Could it be that his body is stronger than ours? How is this possible? How can there be such a freak in the human race? Hurry up and kill him. Don't let him escape. The group of silver dragons discussed among themselves, their voices filled with fear. Hee. Chen Daoming wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stroked his silver hair with his hand. You guys hurt me. Now it's my turn to hurt you. This is hurting each other. After saying that, Chen Daoming took out a broken hatchet. As soon as this thing came out, all the silver dragons couldn't help but look sluggish. They looked nervously at the hatchet in Chen Daoming's hand. Spiritual sense was like a wave sweeping all over the hatchet. After a while, joking laughter sounded. I thought he took out some peerless immortal weapon, but it turned out to be a mortal's hatchet. It's so funny, even if you want to take a hatchet, you have to take a complete one. This kid is really cute, I'm a little reluctant to kill him. Yeah, he's really a funny baby. Chen Daoming's mouth raised slightly, slowly waving the hatchet. He drew a circle in place. This circle had just been drawn. Rumble, a low sound rang. With Chen Daoming as the center, within a kilometer, it fell into darkness. All the silver dragons could see was that circular white light. This white light seemed slow, but in fact, it was extremely fast. In just an instant, it slashed on the silver dragons. What is this? How is this possible? Such thoughts sounded in the minds of every silver dragon. They stared with wide eyes and roared with all their might. However, there was no sound at all. When the darkness dissipated, apart from Chen Daoming, there was the rugged man standing in place. All around, all the silver dragons had fallen to the ground. On the silver dragon's body, there were deep knife wounds all over the body. White scales were scattered all around. That appearance was as if it had been cut by 1,000 knives, extremely miserable. Goo goo, blood flowed, converged together, forming a blood river, and merged with the dust. It looked like hell. In the air, there was a strong smell of blood. The rugged man stared blankly at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He raised his right hand and looked at the dense knife marks on his arm with a surprised face. An Ascendant Realm human could leave a mark on his body? Was this still an ordinary Ascendant Realm? This kid, if it wasn't for his outstanding talent, he must have obtained a shocking fortune. But, so what? In the face of absolute strength, even if you have thousands of means, it would be vulnerable. Hee. The rugged man smiled, his hands clasped together, and his joints exploded. He stepped forward and walked towards Chen Daoming step by step. Looking at the rugged man, Chen Daoming's face was full of fear. The blow just now. It was his strongest move now. It was realized from the hatchet called Heaven Breaking. This move directly consumed nearly 50% of his immortal power. The strongest move did not cause any harm to the rugged man? How terrifying was his strength! Could it be that he was an immortal dragon? Impossible! Chen Daoming directly denied this idea. Then who was he? If he could not be hurt in his full blow, then his strength was definitely above the 8-step half-immortal realm. What to do? Now, at most, he could make a heaven-breaking strike. What about after using this move? Deng deng, the footsteps were getting closer and closer. Chen Daoming's heart was beating more and more violently. He secretly took out the communication talisman and quickly wrote, "I'm afraid there is only one dragon general here." Such a scene was completely seen by the rugged man, and the expression on his face did not change at all. "Oh, there are even reinforcements, then it's a little interesting." He smiled slightly, his figure flashed, and instantly appeared in front of Chen Daoming. Chen Daoming's expression changed drastically, and he could only watch the rugged man's fist coming, powerless. Boom! There was a loud noise. Chen Daoming flew out like a broken kite. The half of the hatchet in his hand was taken by the rugged man. Can this broken hatchet make such a terrifying blow? Chapter 154. At the east gate of West Prefecture, Immortal City. In front of Su Yiling stood hundreds of silver-armored guards. These silver-armored guards were all transformed from the dragon race. Fine skin and tender flesh, strong breath, this is really the best of the human race, this taste must be good. Only so big, it's not enough for us to divide. Don't even think about it, she is the commander's. A group of silver-armored guards looked at Su Yiling, their eyes flashing as if seeing a piece of delicious food. What do you want to do? Su Yiling looked fearful and kept retreating. Commander, let me capture this delicious food and offer it to you. A silver-armored guard stood up and said. Good. Finish it quickly, we still have to chase those ants. Yes, Commander. After speaking, the silver-armored guard licked his lips and rushed straight to Su Yiling. Ah! Su Yiling screamed in fright, squatting on the ground, shivering. A cruel smile appeared on the silver-armored guard's face. He stretched out his claws, aimed at Su Yiling's head and grabbed it down. How could an Ascendant Realm little doll resist this claw of his? In the next second, he could see Su Yiling's head burst, and she died on the spot. However, ding, a sound of metal clashing sounded. The silver-armored guard looked down at his claws with a face of disbelief. The bones of the claws were broken, and there was a burst of pain. He was about to scream. Stab! The sound of a sword piercing flesh and blood sounded. The silver-armored guard's neck was directly twisted and deformed, and Su Yiling grabbed it and burst it, blood spurting wildly. Plop! His body fell straight down, turned into a 100-meter-long silver dragon, twitched a few times, and then there was no movement. One move, a tragic death. Such a scene strongly stimulated the eyes of the other silver-armored guards. As a dragon, they were very clear about how strong the physical body was. An ant-like human race actually killed a silver dragon with his bare hands? If they didn't see it with their own eyes, who would dare to believe it? How strong was this human cultivator's physical body? Thinking about it, in the eyes of many silver dragons, there was a look of fear. The commander's face also changed slightly, pointing to Su Yiling. Go! With a command, nearly 100 silver-armored guards rushed straight to Su Yiling like tigers down the mountain. Humph! Su Yiling snorted coldly and did not dodge. He fought with nearly 100 silver armor guards. Ding! The sound of metal colliding rang out continuously. When the silver-armored guards hit her, it was as if they were hitting metal and did not cause any damage to her. On the other hand, the silver-armored guards were injured by the recoil. After a while, everyone, return to your original forms and attack with all your might. The commander shouted, and the silver-armored guards moved together. Gotcha! The sound of bones rubbing against each other could be heard. The silver-armored guards' bodies changed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, they turned into silver dragons. Boom! His tail wriggled in the sky, creating layers of air waves. Explosions rang out continuously, forming shock waves that splashed in all directions. The houses below couldn't withstand the shock waves at all, and quickly exploded. Phew! All the silver dragons aimed at Su Yiling and spat out nearly 100 dragon breaths. Su Yiling raised the corner of her mouth, took out the painting scroll, and spread it over her head. Few, ice-cold Taoist rhymes quickly surged out. The surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. The extreme cold completely enveloped the dragon breath, turning it into threads of ice that scattered in all directions. Taoist rhymes? Such a terrifying Taoist rhymes? Who drew this? It's so scary. When did the human race have such an immortal? The commander's face changed dramatically, and his face was full of disbelief. Cold sweat ran down his head, and he gave a loud roar, "Attack with all your might!" All the silver dragons moved rapidly, constantly spitting out dragon breaths to resist the power of freezing. The ice Tao rhymes came out continuously, and the dragon breath quickly froze. The ice Tao rhymes and the dragon breath formed a stalemate, and for a while, no one could do anything to the other. When the commander saw this scene, the corner of his mouth raised. He walked toward Su Yiling step by step, his face full of cold killing intent. "Little doll, dare to kill my clan, die for me." After speaking, the commander turned into a silver dragon, 200 meters long, and his body exuded the aura of a 5-step half-immortal. The 5 claws exuded a metallic luster, breathtaking. A pressure surged from the commander, pressing Su Yiling to the point that she could not breathe smoothly. Seeing this scene, Su Yiling's face changed slightly. Without thinking about it, she took out another painting scroll from her arms. As soon as this thing came out, the commander's scalp exploded, and he took 2 steps back. Could it be that she still has that kind of painting? This is impossible. This kind of powerful treasure, even an immortal needs to work hard and use countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures to draw it. How can there be another one? It seems that this little girl wants to lie to me and scare me away. I was actually scared by a little doll? If this gets out, wouldn't I be laughed to death? The commander shook his head secretly, stretched out his sharp claws, and pressed straight down from the sky. The huge claws covered the sky and the sun, terrifying and boundless. The air exploded constantly. So scary. Su Yiling quickly spread out the painting scroll in her hand. There was a wind sound. In the painting scroll, the sad, bleak, and death breath came to the face. All kinds of Tao rhymes, like a tsunami, rushed straight to the commander. This is impossible. No, the commander let out a roar of unwillingness. As soon as his voice sounded, it stopped abruptly. A gust of wind passed. The flesh and blood on the commander's body disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, only a skeleton was left. Boom! Without the support of immortal power, the skeleton fell directly to the ground and broke apart. In the end, it exploded into powder, and after the wind blew, there was nothing left. Until death, he did not let out a scream. Such a scene strongly stimulated the nerves of the other silver dragons. Endless fear spread all over their bodies. Their bodies trembled involuntarily. At this moment they had the intention to retreat, and there was no longer any fighting spirit. Immediately afterward, a silver dragon moved, turned into a silver light, and soared into the sky. With a dragon taking the lead, there would be dragons following. Nearly 100 silver dragons all moved. There was fear written on each silver dragon's face, and they flew to the sky. However, a breeze blew. Hundreds of silver dragons' bodies seemed to be imprisoned, motionless. Immediately afterward, the flesh and blood on their bodies disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, they turned into nearly 100 white bones, falling from the sky. Boom! The explosions were continuous. All the skeletons collapsed into powder and disappeared on the spot. Seeing this scene, Su Yiling's eyes widened and her face was shocked. She looked at the painting scroll in front of her, full of disbelief. The might of this attack was too strong. The young master's means were really unimaginable. I haven't even had fun yet and they're all dead? I feel like I'm getting better and better at acting. Su Yiling showed a smirk and put the 2 paintings into her arms as treasures, keeping them close to her body. Buzz, suddenly, a vibration sounded. Taking out the communication jade slip and seeing the message above, Su Yiling's eyes lit up. Dragon General? I'll go and see. Chapter 155. Can this broken hatchet unleash such a terrifying attack? The rough man picked up the hatchet and looked around, his face full of doubt. Even after exhausting all his methods, he was still unable to find any clues from the hatchet. From the looks of it, it was just an ordinary weapon, not worth mentioning. The next second, the rough man's scalp went numb and he hurriedly threw the hatchet out of his hand. However, it was as if the hatchet had grown out of his palm, and he could not shake it off no matter how hard he tried. The power in the rough man's body was quickly flowing into the hatchet. Devour! The rugged man's pupils shrank. He reacted quickly and chopped off his hand in an instant. What is this thing? It can actually devour my power? In just a single breath of time, a portion of my strength was actually devoured by it. Damn it! The rugged man looked at the chopper on the ground, his face full of anger. You deliberately let me take away the hatchet so that you could devour my power. Even if I devoured you, I wouldn't be able to make up for it. The rough man walked toward Chen Daoming step by step. On his body, he exuded a monstrous dragon's might, and Chen Daoming was unable to move at all. Come back. Chen Daoming looked at the hatchet and whispered. Buzz, the hatchet vibrated wildly, turned into a stream of light, and instantly appeared in Chen Daoming's hand. Gotcha! The pressure in the surroundings shattered with a sound. Chen Daoming regained his freedom. Without any hesitation, Chen Daoming poured all his strength into the hatchet. Then, he aimed at the rugged man and used the heaven-breaking strike. Phew! The surroundings instantly fell into darkness. A ray of light quickly arrived and flew toward the center of the burly man's brows. It was so fast that even the rugged man couldn't react in time. Pu Siai, the sound of a sword piercing into flesh rang out. Traces of blood seeped out from the center of the rugged man's brows. He wiped it with his hand and looked at the scarlet stain on his hand. His calm face instantly contorted. You can actually hurt me? How dare you hurt me? The rugged man took a step forward, creating layers of ripples. He instantly appeared in front of Chen Daoming and punched out. Boom! With a loud noise, Chen Daoming's body flew out. Bang! Bang! Wherever it went, houses collapsed and dust rose into the sky. He flew 1,000 meters and crashed into the city wall. Boom! The city wall cracked and collapsed. Pooh! Chen Daoming spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and struggled repeatedly, but he could not get up. He looked at the rugged man with fear. His strongest move only caused him to bleed a few drops of blood. This dragon general was too strong. This was troublesome. The rough man looked at Chen Daoming, and his face changed slightly. Not dead? His physical body is indeed strong enough to be on par with my clan. However, not even the 9th immortal of the human race can save you today. Just as he finished speaking. Really? A sound rang out. Phew! An icy aura descended from the sky and enveloped the boorish man. Mu Bing, dressed in blue, descended from the sky like a fairy. Behind her, the 4 ancestors of the Mu family followed closely. She stood in midair, looking at the rugged man with a calm expression. Her expression was like that of a goddess who controlled the world. Dragon General? The other side. 3 figures slowly walked over. The 3 of them were Luo Luyan, Su Yiling and Wen Rincher. Looking at Chen Daoming's injury, Luo Luyan said, Fellow Daoist Chen, you step aside and rest. Leave the rest to us. Okay. Chen Daoming struggled to stand up and stepped back. The rough man looked at these people, his face showing a trace of disdain. Just based on you, the words were not finished. Luo Luyan and Su Yiling moved at the same time, and the 7 scrolls flew up at the same time. Buzz, there was a sound of vibration. The terrifying Dao rhyme, like a tsunami, rushed in from all directions. Seeing this scene, the rough man's face changed dramatically. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. How could a little human have so many treasures? The rough man used his movement technique and fled frantically. It was just too late. Howl, a trembling roar sounded. The shocking Tao rhyme covered the rough man in the blink of an eye. Damn it! The rough man gritted his teeth and roared, but he was trapped in a quagmire, and it was extremely difficult to move a finger. You want to trap this seat with just this break for me? The rough man's body skyrocketed, making a cracking sound. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into a 1,000-meter-long dragon. Each scale was the size of a roof, and that kind of indestructible momentum rushed out. Gotcha! A sound like the cracking of an eggshell sounded. The Tao rhyme that enveloped the dragon's body instantly collapsed. Howl, the dragon roared to the sky. The dragon roar shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths, spreading in all directions. A mass of white light, sizzling, was spat out by the dragon. In the white light, it contained the power to destroy heaven and earth, aimed at Su Yiling and blasted over. Seeing this scene, Luo Luyen and Su Yiling's scalp exploded, and hurriedly used their movement technique. It's just, where was it too late? Boom! A loud noise shook the entire West Prefecture Immortal City. The attics burst apart one after another. Buzz! A shock wave swept in all directions. Wherever it went, the dust was lifted up layer by layer. Smoke and dust filled the sky, shrouding all around. When the smoke and dust dissipated, a huge pit with a depth of 100 meters appeared on the ground. In the huge pit, a giant dragon lay there, and a lot of scales on its body fell off. The dragon struggled to stand up, looked up at the sky, and couldn't help but shrink his pupils. Only to see. In the sky, Luo Luyen and the others stood beside Mu Bing, intact. Not a trace of injury was left. Higher in the sky, a divine dragon phantom hovered there, looking at the dragon coldly. Divine dragon, the dragon's scalp exploded, full of shock. I don't know what the senior is here for? The dragon prostrated his head to show respect. However, the sky divine dragon didn't even look at him, his posture arrogant. The dragon's eyes stared at the divine dragon phantom, his face full of anger. It turned out to be just a remnant soul. In that case, this seat will swallow you. See if you still dare to be arrogant. After saying that, the dragon opened his mouth and spat hard. A white bead appeared in the sky. At this moment, heaven and earth instantly changed color. In the whole sky, only this white bead could be seen. Dragon Ball! A cry of alarm sounded. What? He actually cultivated a Dragon Ball. This is troublesome. We're going to make a move. At this time, Mu Ao and the others stood up with a cautious face. Collect. Mu Bing waved her right hand, and the sky divine dragon phantom changed rapidly, turned into a statue, and returned to Mu Bing's hand. You ants, thank you so much for sending me a wisp of dragon soul. As long as I swallow it, I will definitely be able to break through the immortal realm. At that time, do I still need to fear anyone? Ha ha! Laughter sounded. It reverberated between heaven and earth. On the dragon's body, white light flourished. Wisps of white light from its mouth rushed to the dragon ball. Buzz! The dragon ball exuded the power to destroy everything, aimed at everyone, and blasted over. Chapter 156. Let's do it. Mu Ao waved his hand and led the Mu family ancestors straight to the dragon bead. Buzz! Each of them made a gesture with both hands and muttered words in their mouths. A series of ancient imprints emerged in their hand. Red, yellow, and blue intertwined, spinning rapidly in Mu Ao's hands, getting bigger and bigger. Finally, it formed a colorful ancient array that covered half of the sky. Buzz! The ancient array kept shaking, and the waves of air whistled out. The surrounding air seemed to be unable to stand this pressure, and was constantly shaking. Boom! The earth-shattering explosion sound kept ringing out. Boom! A loud noise that could destroy the sky and earth. The dragon flame cage that enveloped the sky above the West Prefecture Immortal City instantly collapsed. In the sky, hundreds of fire dragons, their bodies burst into pieces and disappeared on the spot. Go, Mu-Ao pointed with his right hand. The great array pressed down from the sky. In the blink of an eye, it pressed on the dragon bead. Boom! The dragon bead trembled wildly, as if it was about to explode. Howl! The giant dragon gritted its teeth and roared, as if crazy. The white light on its body, like a burst cloth flowing backward, flew rapidly to the dragon bead. Buzz! The dragon bead seemed to be unable to stand the power of the great array and trembled wildly. The pressure of the great array was like a tsunami, layer upon layer, constantly pressing down. Every time it shook, the pressure would double. Boom! The giant dragon's body fell to the ground uncontrollably, exploding into a cloud of dust. The dragon bead also followed it to the ground and sank into the deep soil. Boom! A muffled sound came from underground. With the giant dragon as the center, the ground was blown up in rows, spreading in all directions. The sky full of dust, rising into the sky. The shock wave spread rapidly, and everything around was blasted into powder. The entire West Prefecture Immortal City was directly moved to the ground. Even the stargazing tower was blown to pieces and disappeared on the spot. The power of the dragon bead was so terrifying. When everything calmed down, a giant pit with a depth of hundreds of meters appeared in front of everyone. The size of the giant pit was enough to cover the entire West Prefecture Immortal City, like a waterless lake. Inside the giant pit, a gigantic white dragon was lying inside. The scales on its body disappeared. Its whole body was covered with scars, and it looked terrible. Howl! It widened its eyes and stared at Mu-Ao and the others. Who are you? Mu-Ao coldly snorted. This old man is Mu-Ao. What? It's you? There was a hint of fear in the dragon's eyes. Obviously, he had heard of Mu-Ao's name. Humph! A puny dragon clan dares to come to my human clan and massacre a city? You deserve to die. The 4 ancestors of the Mu family looked at the giant dragon. Their cold killing intent was not concealed. Deserve to be killed? A trace of contempt appeared in the dragon's eyes. You? Do you dare? Mu-Ao didn't say anything, just grabbed with his right hand. Boundless spiritual energy rushed into his palm. Buzz, a white spear of light quickly took shape. Dragon-slaying spear? You dare. The giant dragon's pupils constricted and its expression changed drastically. His body struggled madly, but his injuries were too severe and he couldn't move at all. Buzz, heaven and earth trembled as the white spear was hurled down. Just as it was about to pierce into the dragon's forehead, at this moment, 3 figures instantly appeared in front of the giant dragon. The person in the lead was Chi-Rong. The 3 of them stretched out their right hands at the same time, mobilized their immortal power, and blasted forward. 3 beams of light converged together, aimed at the white spear, and collided with it. Boom! The air trembled, and a low explosion sounded. Gotcha! The white spear cracked a little. Finally, it collapsed into powder. 3 dragon generals! Mu-Ao's expression changed slightly. The other 3 ancestors' faces also changed drastically, and they secretly said that it was not good. Just now, dealing with a dragon general had already consumed nearly half of their strength. Dealing with another one could barely do it. It was impossible to deal with 3 at the same time. Moreover, these 3 dragon generals were clearly much stronger than the others. Any one of them couldn't be dealt with. Trouble. You guys, run. Mu-Ao looked at Luo Luyen and the others and sent out a divine sense voice transmission. Luo Luyen and the others nodded, and without any hesitation, hurriedly retreated. However, boom! They hit a transparent barrier and almost fell to the ground. This is the Dragon Clan Immortal Trap Array. Not good, we're trapped. The strength of the 4 of us can't break it at all. This is trouble. The faces of the Mu family's 4 ancestors were full of fear. Ancestor, don't worry, the young master calculates everything, we just need to go all out. Mu Bing said. Calculates everything? Go all out? Qi Rong almost laughed out loud when he heard this. He was the one who calculates everything, okay? When he learned that there was a divine dragon remnant soul, he secretly set up the immortal trap array with the other 2 dragon generals. Not to mention them, even if it was a real immortal, they would be trapped here and unable to escape. For all this, the 5th brother's dragon core exploded, and he would never be able to become an immortal dragon. However, to be able to obtain the divine dragon remnant soul, it was worth it. Second brother, it was the 4 of them who beat me like this, you have to avenge me. Also, on that ant, there is a divine dragon remnant soul, we must seize it. The giant dragon roared again and again, roaring non-stop. Hearing this, the corner of Qi Rong's mouth raised slightly. 5th brother, rest assured. After saying that, he took the 2 dragon generals and rushed straight to the Mu family's 4 ancestors. Humph! The Mu family's 4 ancestors snorted coldly and also pounced on the 3 of them. For a while, the 2 sides came and went, and no one could do anything to the other. Boom! The sound of the air explosion was deafening. Boundless waves of air, sprinkling toward heaven and earth. The ground was lifted again. Dust soared into the sky, enveloping the entire West Prefecture Immortal City. Smoke and soil rubbed, electric arcs exploded, sizzling. 7 figures kept shuttling through the dust. This battle lasted for a full hour. Boom! A loud noise that shook the sky. The 2 sides immediately separated. They stood high in the sky, looking at each other. The faces of the Mu family's 4 ancestors were full of fear. What can we do? They haven't changed into their original bodies yet, and they're already suppressing us. There's no way, we can only fight. If we don't kill them, we can't break the array. Okay. After some discussion, the Mu family's 4 ancestors made a decision. On the other side, second brother, let's change into our original bodies, in case of accidents. Okay. The 3 dragon generals' bodies changed rapidly. In the blink of an eye, they turned into 3 giant dragons that were 1,000 meters long. Standing proudly in the sky, their bodies emitted an irresistible aura. At first sight, it made people's hearts tremble with fear. Howl, the 3 giant dragons let out a dragon roar, shaking the heavens and shaking the earth, terrifying beyond compare. The 3 dragon breaths, aimed at the Mu family's 4 ancestors, pounced over. The terrifying pressure spread all around from the dragon breath, pressing the Mu family's 4 ancestors' faces to change drastically. We haven't recovered in the end, we're not their opponents at all. It's over, we can't complete the godly cunning immortals' entrustment. The faces of the Mu family's 4 ancestors were full of unwillingness. They let out a roar, frantically mobilizing their Dantian's immortal power to form a shield, enveloping their whole body. With just this, you want to block our dragon breath? Die. Qi Rong's face was full of sneers. Watching, the 3 dragon breaths blasted on the Mu family's 4 ancestors. At this time, a sudden change occurred.